What is good, TPA podcast? It's your boy Big Holly, and we are back today. I have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is ISIS Bennifield.
Is that like your government?
Yeah.
Do people make the ISIS joke?
Yeah, all the time. But, you know, I'm actually named after an Egyptian goddess. So my
Okay.
standards are up here.
So what are you? Are you Egyptian?
I'm half black, half Mexican.
Okay. So how do you like Atlanta so far?
It's cool. It's really pretty. I was telling my friend the other day, it's not very foreign to me.
Mhm.
Like, my dad's from St. Louis, so it's a lot of green. But I just don't like that I can't see outside because Arizona is so landscape. You can see
Yeah.
everything. Over here, I'm like, I can't see anything.
Yeah. So what are you into these days?
I sing, dance, model. I'm actually out here because I have a fashion show. So
Okay. Who is the fashion show with?
Bernard Moore. It's a swimsuit designer.
Wow. Did you watch Bel Air?
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like the thing with Hillary, like going into like that clout house and them trying to like push her to do like Victoria's Secret modeling?
My main thing as a person, I like to say that I'm a woman first, and like my sexual appeal is just an added thing to me and my personality and who I am. Like I can be sexy, but I can also be a bum. I can also like can be all these kind of things. Like I'm not just sexy. So if I want to do that one day, I can. But if another day I want to be in sweats and a baggy tee, like that's also an option.
So you said singing, dancing, and modeling. Which one do you think you're the best at?
Singing for sure.
So when did you start singing?
I started singing when I was like 5. I actually started as an opera singer. This is crazy. I started as an opera singer. Phantom of the Opera was my favorite movie. I'd play it on replay, and that's how I started singing.
You are the first person I have ever met in my life, like real life, that said they even listen to opera music.
That's my favorite. Still to this day, I can watch that movie on repeat. I love that movie.
I've never seen that movie.
That doesn't surprise me, but I'm telling you, it's a good movie. It's definitely different because it's 2005, but it like goes back and forth. I just really appreciate the music.
What is it about?
It's a musical about like this opera house in like the UK or somewhere over there, and the main character, her name's Christine, has like her childhood lover, and there's a phantom who's like way older, which is kind of weird, that he lives under the opera house because he was abused and all kind of stuff, and he's in love with her, so he's trying to get with her while she has her like childhood lover, but she like, it's kind of like a Twilight story, to be honest, because she's like entertaining the phantom a little bit because that was the one that taught her how to sing.
Okay.
But she has her childhood dude, and it's like,
Who did she end up with?
with her childhood dude,
How does the Phantom? What happens to the Phantom?
he just like loses his mind and just goes off.
It's crazy.
It's a good movie.
What has your experience been with singing so far, like in life?
Oh, I actually gave up on singing at one point because I started in the industry at a very young age because I was a childhood model. And when I was 10, I was signed to an agency in Arizona.
Wow.
And that was all cool and stuff, but I started auditioning at 12 years old. I started at the X Factor. And every time I auditioned, X Factor, The Voice, American Idol, all of it, I never would get past the first round. It was just like rejection after rejection. And it never made me question my talent. Well, at the beginning it did, but it was always, you sing really well, but come back next year. Oh, you're young. Just come back. And I'm like, well, dang, if you told me I could sing, like, why can't I at least get to the next round, you know? Yeah. So it broke me for a while. Like, I stopped singing maybe around 16 to 18. I stopped singing completely. But it's my passion, it's my purpose, and it just keeps coming back.
I think like with shows like X Factor and American Idol and stuff, like they're trying to manufacture like a megastar. Like, so.
Are you saying that I'm not a megastar?
No. Listen. Well, I think they're trying to, especially if you were doing that at like a young age, like there's a certain demographic that they're used to, and that's probably who they're trying to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Like standing outside the audition, they're like, "Oh, I just saw like 5 girls, all who had tickets, all had guitars and like the little hat." I'm like, "Oh."
Like country music singers type.
Basically Taylor Swift-esque. It's just like, oh.
So okay. Who would you compare your singing to?
So I grew up singing like Christina Aguilera, that growl, that grasp, Etta James and all that. I wouldn't know who to compare myself to. Maybe like a Keisha Cole, Alicia Keys. Because my main thing is that I really like to show off my vocals, my range. I really like to sing, and I think now with music's kind of like more like a talky singing, not like a very soft. And I'm very like
soulful singing.
Yeah, I like to sing. I like to do the growl. That actually was a problem for me growing up. When I auditioned for the talent show in middle school, I sang "Tough Lover" from the movie Burlesque with Christina Aguilera. And it's a lot of growls, and the people told me, oh, you can sing, but you shouldn't sing like that. You shouldn't growl. You're too young to be singing like that. Yeah, and they told me to say, don't do that for the show. I'm like, and they made me change the song.
Why do you think they told you to do that?
I don't know. It's just I had a lot of problems in that school growing up in a majority like rich area where there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. So I just don't think they liked me being different. I don't think they liked that I was mature for my age.
Yeah, they sent like the school police officer after us for like rapping in the parking lot after school. I switched schools. I went to like a predominantly like black school first, but then I'll tell that story another day. But you know what I'm saying? I ended up transferring schools to play sports, and so I went to like a less predominantly black school, little richer, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, they ain't like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, I definitely experienced that too. I remember one day I was wearing like a crop top, but it was just like loose. I put my backpack on. The school nurse was like, come here. I'm like, oh God. And she's like, go get a shirt. I'm like, for what? I see your stomach. I'm like, where? When you put your backpack on. I'm like, because I had to readjust my shirt. I'm like, look at all these girls with literally their butt cheeks hanging out. I said, but you want to dress code me for real? Oh, you can take it up with the principal. I said, take me to the principal. So I'm like, okay. And that's one thing, like, yeah, no, like I was always raised like you don't let anybody push you around because you're different. Yeah. So
that's fire though.
Started a lot of problems. I'm telling you, that was in middle school. Started a lot of problems like that. But
when did you start to get into more integrated schools?
My high school was a predominantly Mexican school. Okay. So
was the treatment different there?
I mean, I never had as many problems. I don't think I've had any problems because it was funny in elementary school and middle school. Like everyone knew my parents because they were like, oh snap. The moment they saw my parents, they're like, oh, something's going down because there was so many problems with how they treated us. And like my parents always had my back and my sister's back. So
that's good. So who do you think is a better singer, Beyonce or Adele?
I like Beyonce. I feel like Beyonce is very versatile because she can do that talky, singy, rap-esque stuff, but she can also sing. And I didn't know that until I really listened to Dreamgirls when I saw her sing Listen. I was like, oh, Beyonce can sing. Yeah. But I feel like Adele, she can sing. She has a beautiful voice, but I feel like it's very more like one genre-esque.
Really?
Yeah.
Her new album, I listened to it because I never really listened to Adele like that, and until I did YouTube, and I did like a live stream, and somebody requested like a Adele song, and I'm like, yo. So I listened to like her new album. I was like, yo, this girl is. It's crazy. So who would you say were your top 3 singers?
Like of their talent-wise, or like just listen to? Ooh, I hate these kind of questions. I really appreciate Keisha Cole. Okay. I feel like she's very underrated. Jasmine Sullivan. I love Jasmine. And, I mean, I had to put Beyonce in there because she's very talented.
For sure. So who are your top 3, like, inspirational, like, that inspired you to sing?
Inspired me? Christina Aguilera. I feel like Jasmine has inspired me more in my current years. But growing up, and Alicia Keys. Those 3.
So back to the modeling. So you said you were signed at an agency at what age? Around like
10.
How was like modeling back then? Do you think you were affected by it much?
I don't think so. So the agency I went to, I won't say it's a scam because I don't want to talk down on it, but it was a lot of like they made you take classes, and then from those classes, like you paid money and all that. And that's one thing I experienced. Like you're not supposed to pay money for an agency, like. And they make you take classes in order to like be signed for their agency. But I don't really think it affected me like regarding self-image or anything because they didn't enforce anything on me or anything. But I just did a lot of runway shoots. I did have an occurrence where I was supposed to work for Target. I got booked to be like one of the big campaign model things. And they had booked me, and then they decided to go with somebody else. So I was like, ugh. that was a little bit sad, but I don't think it really affected me in a negative way.
Gerber did that to me, bro.
Oh, not Gerber.
I was a Gerber baby, right? I won the race, but they gave it to somebody else that was a, you know what I'm saying? So I'll never forget that. I have like the picture. My mom used to keep the picture like on the refrigerator.
I don't believe
the
that.
Race.
I don't believe that.
What? Why don't you believe that?
I don't know. I just can't. I just, for some reason, I just picture like your face right now, like on a baby's body, on a baby's body. I don't know why.
I'm gonna find a picture. All right, I'm gonna find a picture.
Oh man. Oh,
that's a Gerber baby. So, yeah. You laughed like with your whole chest. That's crazy.
Because that's actually funny to me because I'm a very visual person. So when you said that, I just like imagine your face, do-rag and all, on a baby.
I'm hurt a little bit. So, did you ever like perform like singing at all?
Mostly in school. Like I said, I did all the talent shows. My first talent show, I sang a song off of Fancy Opera. So,
wow. Did people know it?
No. I don't know. I just sang. I mean, I was 5. Like I was literally 5 years old.
That's crazy.
I was in kindergarten, so it was for a bunch of like other elementary schoolers. I'm sure there's like, what the heck? But yeah, I've always been. The stage is like my home. You know, like a lot of people are just like get stage fright and stuff. Like obviously I get nervous, but like when I'm on stage, it's just like everything and more. And I've always been a career-driven person, so it's just like. That's my dream, and it's just like if I don't achieve my dream, like I don't know what I would do.
So what does your dream and goal look like for singing?
Renowned artist. I don't really want to just have like start my own world tour and like sell out all the venues and all that. Like fame has never been like a big thing for me. Yeah. My thing is just like being on stage and performing. That has to come with it because people had to fill the seats, but just sharing my love, sharing my passion. And I just really want to be an inspiration. Like I just really want to share my story because I've been through it. I've been broken down. Like I gave up, and I'm still here and I'm still fighting for it. So, what
do you think? Like most of your songs are about?
I want to be a very relatable artist, and I'm a very emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, so I write a lot of music that I feel like other people can relate to, because the stuff that I go through, I'll go talk to my friend and they're going through the same things. And it's just like music gets people through things. Yeah. And if I can share my story to inspire somebody else, like just by sharing my art, it's something that I love. Like that's what I want to do.
So like what song, like give me a song and give me like the backstory behind like your writing of that.
Okay. I have a song that's about like caring a little bit too hard for someone who doesn't like really care for you in the same way. And I wrote that about like 2-3 years ago, like, and I have never been a big relationship person, so it's not like I wrote it about a specific person, but it's just sometimes in the music I feel like I pour my heart out into music and it's not given back to me. I don't know, I kind of discovered that I write music like I'm talking to somebody, like I'm having a conversation, like I'm telling you how I feel. And it's just like I'll think of something in my head and everything comes with it. Like the melody comes with it. Everything comes together. And it's hard because I don't really know how to produce. So it's just like, dang, I'm in my voice memo like like trying to remember, because sometimes I'll be singing. I'm like, ooh, I like that. And I'm like, crap, I just forgot. So I'll just be in my voice memos singing. And somebody had taught me that a few years ago, just like everything, make weird noises, everything. So that was my process in that.
That's good. Like cause I grew up like rapping, so like it's easy to like write down like that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. How different is the writing process for singing? Do you have to like find a beat first? Do you try to match like the lyrics that you have to a beat, or which way do you go about doing it?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of hard because when I write something, I'm like, okay, I have the melody, and then I sing to the melody, and then I'm like, crap, I don't know how to write that now. So sometimes I'll go on YouTube and look for beats and try to match that to what I've already written. But I feel like rap is a little bit different, because not to dog on rap, but I feel like you can just say anything. And like I feel like you can really just say you can just say anything. And it's like I feel like with music, it kind of has to make a little bit more sense. I don't know if that's dogging on rap, but I I feel like when I'm writing songs, I'm like, I really had to like tell a story, have more of a conversation. I feel like rap sometimes, especially like mainstream rap, it's just like, what did you just, what, like, did you just put like random like chicken and soup and now it's a banger? Like,
I think that's enjoyable music though, because you gotta think like the most popular like singing song is like Cupid Shuffle or something like that, right? Like Cupid, like what are you talking about? So like I think like those type of songs are just meant to like be, what's the one song they play every time the club closed, bro? I can't remember, but it's one of them cookout.
You be in the club till it closes?
Yeah, sometimes.
Dang.
See, you, my friend, you just got to Atlanta, all right? Let me tell you something about this place, all right? People, like, that's like a thing. I don't know. I can't even say this doesn't happen in other cities, because I've been to other cities and been to their clubs. Mm-hmm. Like, people really go to the club here, mm-hmm. like, and be in there.
So, like, what's the point? Because, like, when I go to the club, like, because I'm a dancer, I want to go and I want to, like, dance. Like, yeah. Like, I'll be in there, stomp the yard or something. Like, pulling out routines. For real? But, yeah, but, like...
I mean, there's clubs for that. Yeah. Right? I think there's different type of clubs. Like, there's a club called Havana. I think that might be, like, your mm-hmm. speed, right? It's very... they have, like, a pop room. They have, like, a strictly Hispanic, like, music room. Then they have, like, a hip-hop or dope. More black cultured music dope. Room.
So, what do you go and stay up till they close? What do you do? You just chill or?
Yeah, like so. Some like I only go to the club for celebrations. Okay. Like I'm not like a person who like be in the club every weekend. Like okay. I could care less. I'd rather be in the crib. Like I like kickback style mm-hmm. parties more. Yeah. But like for my friends, they like to buy bottles and smoke hookah, order wings. Mm-hmm. Some of my homeboys, they like to go to the club and run down on females. Mm-hmm. Like that's what they do. So like. That's what I'm there for. Mm-hmm. Like, and now I gave up drinking. I said that like I was an alcoholic. I only drank like socially anyway. But like we would be in there and the DJs know what they're doing because they'll play music because mm-hmm. people don't get there till if the club closes at 3, you probably don't get there. Well, like 2. If the club closes at 2, you're not getting there till like 12:30. Mm-hmm. So. You got an hour of like getting lit, everybody, you know what I'm saying, smoking hookah, people rolling, other things, you know what I'm saying, mm-hmm. drinking. Then by the time like 30 minutes before the club closes, that's when you get like all the hot songs that are out mm-hmm. right now. So like when like Dirk Back in Blood, then mm-hmm. you'll have Cardi B, then you'll have everything that's hot right there. Mm-hmm. And then they'll start playing like the Dreams and Nightmares. Oh yeah. And then they start to play songs that are more like, it's time to go home. Yeah. So you're really only there for an hour and a half. It's just what time you go there. It's not, I think some people think of it like, I'm going to the club at 10 o'clock and I'm mm-hmm. staying there till 2:30. That's not what people are doing. You in the club for like an hour and a half max for sure. I'm dead. But so like, what are the club experiences that you've had?
I mean, in Arizona, we have Mill Ave, and then we have Old Town. Mm-hmm. I don't really like Old Town because Old Town's in Scottsdale. It's like the bougie area, and they've had a lot of problems about the mistreatment of people mm-hmm. over there and letting people in and stuff. I never had that problem, but it's just not my scene. And on Mill, they have like Fat Tuesdays where they have like the slushy alcohol mm-hmm. drinks. So we usually go get drinks there, and then there's Varsity Tavern, which is like a 2-floor spot, mm-hmm. and then they play the good music. So that's where I'm like, everybody move. It's my time.
So like, you go to like bars?
Yeah. There are bars, and then they churn into the clubs, at like past 10 o'clock or whatever. But yeah.
So define a club then. Like, what's the difference between a club and a bar to you?
I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like the couple clubs that I know, they just don't open until mm-hmm. like it's ready to be club time. Yeah. And then bars are the restaurants during the day, and then they become clubs at night.
I mean, that makes sense. You definitely got to go out in Atlanta one time to like a club. It's a different experience, especially like the black clubs here. Yeah. But like Havana, I think you should try that. that's like your speed. What other club is there?
Are they like strict on dress code? Like, can I come looking like whatever? Or
see, clubs don't care.
Okay.
Like for dudes, you gotta wear jeans. Well, I don't know. Actually, you don't. Only when you go to the bars, guys gotta wear jeans. When you go to the club, you can wear whatever.
Okay.
But girl, listen. Just go outside this weekend and like to Well, I don't think you should go to Edgewood. You might be a little scared of Edgewood. Go to like somewhere by Centennial Park, probably like Encore or something like that. It's pretty mild area, but Atlanta is known for the strip clubs, though, for sure. You've been to one of those?
Not my scene.
Why do you say that?
It's just, I don't know. Like I said, if I'm gonna go out, it's because I want to go dance. So like,
you dance at the strip club.
It's not the same.
They play the same music.
Nah, like if I want to go to a club, I just want everyone to be minding their own. Like it's a little vibe, and then like I usually stand in the back and I'll be dancing with my little group of friends in the back of the club because I don't like being around too many people. Like, so it's kind of like contradicting myself, but everyone's up here and doing mosh pits or whatever, jumping around to Dreams and Nightmares, rapping and stuff, and I'm in the back. Like sometimes I would know the DJ because I would go there pretty frequently, and I'd be like, hey, like play goodies. He's like, oh, okay, I got you. Or he'll have me come up on the stage and just like dance and stuff. So
like goodies, Sierra goodies.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But it was a vibe. I don't know. There's something about Sierra when her music comes on and just like everybody move. Yeah. Like.
What was like one of your worst like club experiences?
Oh man, I feel like security is a scam. At least at the clubs over there, because like some people, usually I'm the type of person that like I'll dance with everybody. Like if you want to ask me to dance, like I'm not gonna be rude and look at you sideways, even if you're like not attractive or something. Like I frown upon people who do that. Like if they're not interested, just say you're not interested. But I mean, I would dance with everybody, and then there was another dude. He was just weird. He was like, hey, like, you trying to dance on me? I'm like, no. Like, if you want to dance, we can dance, but like, no. And then he just followed me all around. I'm like, bro. And then I remember No Guidance came on and we're all dancing. He's like, yeah, you got it. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. So I like went to the back and stood right next to security. And I'm like eyeballing him, like, help me. And he's just like looking like straight over me. I'm like, wow. But I was like, I'm going to stand here in case this one tries to kidnap me or something. Yeah. And one time it was Halloween. I was with my friend. The poor thing. There was like these old dudes. I think they were like 60 up in this. It was an 18 and up club at this point. It was 18 and up. And he was dressed as a pimp. I feel so bad for her because I kind of have an RBF. So people really don't like mess with me like that.
What's that?
A resting bitch face. Okay, yeah. I like people really don't mess with me like that, but her, she's so sweet, and she just like, and he just came and smacked her on the butt with his pimp stick. I felt so bad. I was like, that's what you get for looking too nice. So I'm like, I just felt so bad. She just didn't know what to do. But from my personal experience, I think that was like the weirdest thing that's happened to me.
Do you go to the gym?
Yeah, I have a degree in clinical exercise science, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to be a personal trainer.
All right, I got a question for you. I've been waiting to ask a girl this, but I keep forgetting every time. Oh, God. Now, I remember this because I went to the gym. Who is more thirsty, dudes in the club or dudes in the gym?
I don't get bothered when I go to the gym. I actually don't. I don't get bothered.
What kind of gym you go to?
I went to EOS in Arizona, and I go to LA Fitness over here. But like, I'm just like, I don't know if like people like feed into that or not, like looking at them or make eye contact, but I don't. I'm just like, my headphones are in. I kind of have like a frown, like, don't mess with me. I'm locked in. I'm already in pain. Like, I've never really had any experiences.
Like, I be at the gym watching, and gym niggas are the nastiest, approachers I have ever seen in my life. Like in the club, like maybe like in more dance clubs, you get that creep vibe because they're fishing for dances, right? But in the gym, when you're like in a like section club, you don't really get that as much, right? So usually dudes just stay to themselves. They may holler at a girl in a section next to them, but most of the time, not really. But the gym here is so nasty. Like, I just be watching, and like a lot of times they're like early 30s, early 40s, somewhere in that range. And they literally talk to every woman that comes in there. And they like hound them. And like sometimes women might be having like general conversation with them, but I think the gym though.
Really? I feel like if I'm by the door, as people walk in, they'll say something, and I just like, I don't hear it because my music's blasting. So I'm just like, and then they'll keep walking. Or another dude, I took out my headphones and he was like, that weight's too light. I was like, what? He's like, that weight looks too light. And I'm like, oh, okay. And just like, he kept walking. I don't know. But again, I've been told I'm not approachable. Like my friend used to say, I feel like when we go out to the club, I get hit on way more because you just don't look approachable. I'm like, well, if you're afraid to come and talk to me because of the way that I look, then you shouldn't be talking to me. So
I mean, like 70% of like conversation is body language.
Yeah.
So like if your body language is shut off from people, then
I just be minding my business.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, because people told me the same thing. Like, but I purposely don't want to be approached.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be approached until I know like who I want to talk to in the room. Then I'll talk to those people.
Right.
But until then,
like, please don't talk to me.
Yeah. Like. But one lady, she like ended up talking to me in Waffle House. I ended up talking to her for like 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Because she like, how you doing? I was like, it was good. And we ended up like to the point where Waffle House was like, hey, we're switching shifts. Can y'all give us our tip? And then we stood outside for like another 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And a worker, like there's just one worker in there. I could tell like she be trying to talk to me when I come in there. And she was like ear hustling adults. Oh man, that is too funny.
So she came at you?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Why?
I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm like my ego and I'm too prideful. But I don't know. I don't know if it's old school with me. Like I'm all for feminine empowerment, but I can't do it. I can't do it.
Somebody first?
No, I can't do it. I can't even DM somebody first.
Why?
It's just, I don't know. I think it's an ego thing because I'm like, no, I'm not going to DM you first. I'm not going to talk to you first. It's just, I can't do it. I've never been able to do that.
Don't you think that's like hypocritical for you to say like, if I don't look approachable, you shouldn't be talking to me? Mm-hmm. But like, you won't approach anybody?
I mean, I guess. I don't think I'm unapproachable. People say I look unapproachable, but it's just, in this day and age, you kind of have to look like, don't try to take advantage of me. Don't try to mess with me. Mm-hmm. So that's especially because I go everywhere by myself. I grew up with, I had a lot of friend drama and stuff like that. So I grew up very by myself. I go to the mall by myself, movies and all that. Like, I don't mind doing that by myself. So I feel like doing that, I kind of had to look like you can't take advantage of me. Mm-hmm. So that's how I walk around. But me approaching you first, like if you come and talk to me, I'm like I said, I don't believe in being rude. I don't believe in like dogging people, but I'm not gonna go to you first. I just can't do it. At least in a romantic way. Like I'll walk up to you and try to be your friend or something like that, or network with you. But like,
so you never shot your shot.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Are you scared of rejection?
Yeah, it hurts my pride. Like I think that's what it is. Because if you reject me, I'm like, what? Like, and it's not that like it's not like my head is kind of big. It just hurts. Like, dang, why not? Like, I don't know if that's shallow.
How much rejecting have you done?
I mean, I've been.
What is the like? Let me get your IG ratio to you. Like,
I'll give everybody my IG.
But I'm talking about once they start like swiping up. What is the conversion rate? Do you actually like, oh, I'm going to actually talk to this person?
I mean, I'll say thank you. And I'll say thank you, or I'll like the message. But if you keep coming at me, one, I hate boring conversations. Like if you're boring, I will stop responding. But if you're cool, like I'll talk to you as a friend. If I have to tell you like, oh, you're a good friend. Hi, nice. It's nice talking to you, friend. Like I'll pull that card, but
so that's what you say, like
yeah, I'll be like, oh, thanks, friend, or something like that, because I don't like to hurt people. And I grew up in high school, people used to say, you're such a heartbreaker. I'm like, no, it's just, I don't want to lead you on either. But if you give me a compliment, I'm going to say thank you.
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with saying thank you to a compliment.
Yeah.
But like the hate, Thank you. Friend is crazy.
You have to make it known. I don't know.
But don't you think not just telling them verbatim what it is, like
some people don't get it though, because like there's people I'm just like, not, and they're just like, just keep going. I'm like,
so what is a good way of conversating with you?
What do you mean?
So you say you hate boring conversations. What are conversations?
Like meaningful conversations. Like what are your aspirations in life, or like what are your values? I feel like all of that's very important, especially the more I meet people, the more you realize that the way that they're brought up determines everything. Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, that's actually really crazy to me. Like, oh, stuff that I think is common sense or stuff that's just like second nature to me, like people are like, they don't, it doesn't click with them the same way. Yeah. So I feel like you can have a lot of conversations, not even controversial, like not even politics or stuff like that, but like if someone gets your order wrong, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna flip out? Are you gonna tell them nicely?
That's
like,
a good call. I never.
Yeah.
Let me write that down. Gotta write that question down.
Yeah, because with me, like I'll tell you nicely, but I'm a hothead. So like if I have like bad service, if I feel like you're disrespecting me, like it's over with. Like I lose it. But I won't, like, it's again, I won't be disrespectful, but again, I think that's growing up, like my parents not letting anyone disrespect me and stuff like that. I'm like, don't take it out on me because you're having a hard day. And that's, my mom tells me that too. She, like, if she had bad service, she's like, are you having a bad day? She'll say that to like the server or something like that. So I think that's just the way I was brought up.
That I don't see. That is good that you say that though, because I'm like a person like, if you're acting like this, something going on with you. I'm not gonna add to it, right? I don't want to be that person to be like, even like, are you having a bad day, or telling them like, you don't got to treat me like this. Most of the time, I'm here like, let me just get through this and leave, because I don't want to be a. And sometimes when people give me bad service, I'll give them good tips. Right? Oh, really? Because sometimes that's all somebody needs is like that to turn it around. I think everybody is so like, my life is about me, right? That if you do me wrong, I don't want nothing to do with you, right? Sometimes, like, I remember one time I was at like Studio Movie Grill where they like bring you food, and the dude came out and he dropped all the food out and it splashed on everybody. So I gave him like money after that happened, because like everybody else is like, oh my God, white man. They're making faces, and I'm very good at like reading body language, and like they don't want to say like you stupid, you know, they don't want to say that, but I could see it like on their face.
See, I feel like that's different though. Like that's a mistake. That's like, if it was you, like, how would you want to react in that situation?
But sometimes giving bad service is a mistake. Like, you may look at it like it's not a mistake, but like sometimes what your day has put you through determines like how you act.
So you don't believe in like leaving that at the door? Like when I take a dance class, so like if you had a hard day, all that, you leave that at the door, and then this is your space. This is like your focus. So this is their job, and this is how they're making money.
And I think that's an unrealistic expectation to put on people.
Really?
Right? And that's why work environments become toxic. Is because they expect you not to be human for 8 hours, which is, you can't do that. Right? So if people were more apt to like help each other, like people, and a lot of it comes down to money. Like I'm a person, even when even at jobs where like I made commission or like our sales goal was a thing, I'm not a person who's like, all right, you're helping them, I'm not going to help. I'm like, if you're helping a customer and I can help the customer for them to have a better experience, I'll do it, because that's how people should function. So you take something like a restaurant, like I would imagine if I worked in a restaurant, like, yo, like, you straight? I mean, you want me to cover your table for you? Because that when you took their plate, they looked a little angry at you, you know what I'm saying? But people don't want to help each other anymore. So now you're forced to be all on your own in this environment, and people pretend like you're not supposed to feel anything. I just don't believe.
I feel like sometimes though people aren't aware that they're taking out on other people, because they had a time that we went to Subway and they're like, oh, like, are you good? And he's like, oh, you know, you're right, I shouldn't be taking that out on you. But there's some occurrences that like in my mailroom at my school dorm, the mail lady just snapped at me. She's like, well, if this person doesn't live here, you can't have your mail sent there. And I said, first of all, you don't have to talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And then she snapped back. I'm like, well, if you're going to snap back when I already told you, like, you're talking to me disrespectful, now it's a problem because now you think it's okay to continuously disrespect me. Yeah. And then now I'm going to have to check you. So
I think like that, like if it's like a good, like I try not to do that with waiters though, because like the chances of me ever being served by you again is like minute.
I never really had problems with waiters though. It's most of the time like customer service, like a cashier or something, or the Domino's on my campus, man. Oh my gosh, they were like ridiculous because they messed up our order and they didn't want to fix it. Like, sent me on to 10 different managers. Well, I can't do this. And he even said, here's the manager number. You call him. Like, oh my gosh. Like, are you serious? Yeah.
See, I'm also like a person, like, if you mess up my order, I'm just not going to come back. I'm straight. Like, and I think that came from my mom being like, whatever I put on your plate, you eat. Mm-hmm. And you have to finish this plate before you can eat anything else. Mm-hmm. So I remember one time my brother, we were at my grandma's house and like he had the same plate for dinner, then breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch. And she didn't let him eat anything else, so he finished that plate. So I think that gave me the ability to be like, all right, I'll just eat it, bro. It's whatever. I'm not. But also I think that's why sometimes a lot of guys like girls who will be like, my man plate, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like a give and take because I just know me. I don't want to start down the road because if you push me to like being mad, it's going to be bad for you. Like,
yeah.
Not like physically, but like my mouth. Like when I want to, because I care less than people. Right, and I can tell like what bothers you while I'm talking to you, and I'm just gonna keep pressing that button the whole time. Like, and I don't want to do that to people because so I just avoid confrontation.
But see, this is like what I mean by meaningful conversation because I just found out so much. You mentioned your mom, you mentioned all kind of things, your upbringing. So in just that one small little question, now we're having meaningful conversation. Yeah, for sure. So I'm like, don't come at me with, oh, how would you sleep? How's your day? What did you do? I'm like, man, if you don't miss me.
People do that until somebody breaks, because some people don't. Some people are very protective of themselves.
Oh, I'm one of those people. Trust.
Yeah. So, like you kind of want to be surface to stay in the loop until one of those things come up where y'all could go into a deeper conversation.
Yeah, I feel like there's levels to it though. Like, I can tell you how I handle something like that because now I know how you handle conflict. If like you're more passive, like, oh, I'm okay, like I'll just eat it, or if you're like, man, because at one point we're gonna have conflict and I need to know if you're just gonna be like, man, like it's okay, like be that kind of person, or if you're more of an alpha where you're gonna be like, no, and I'm gonna be like, well, no, and it's just gonna be a whole big ordeal.
I'm also like a person where I'm like I'm not going to engage in conflict if I'm with other people because I don't know if the people around me are want to go to the level of conflict that I can push people to.
So if your friend jumps, are you jumping?
No. Okay. That's a good question. So I remember it depends, right? So I remember I was in a club in Tampa and I was with somebody. And a fight broke out. Now he knows the person that was in the fight and the person he was fighting. I didn't know anybody. So I stopped him from joining the fight because if you go start fighting these group of people, I don't know who your people is. I don't know who they people is. And we'll end up, you have to live here at the end of the day. So like, I don't want to get into a situation where, so I actually stopped them from going into the thing until everything was broken up. The dude went outside, he went to like his trunk, got his gun, whatever, was driving around the parking lot. And once I figured out what was what, then I can, but like if I'm with like my friends and we're on a resort and you get, okay, look, I know who we came with. Like there's no questions about what's going on. But it just depends on the situation. A lot of times I'll tell my friends, like, when I see them, going to a certain threshold with people, I'll like, bro, we ain't got to do that. Like, just because we can don't mean we have to.
Right.
So I'm one of them type of people. I'm gonna try to prevent it, but like if somebody start tripping on you and they escalate it, we lit for sure.
Yeah.
You jumping in?
Like you said, it depends. Cause I'm not just gonna jump for. I'm not gonna jump for nobody. Like anybody. I'm not gonna jump for just anybody for any situation. So, because I grew up like I have a lot to lose, and you can't just be fighting everybody. That's something that my parents always instilled in me, because my parents were always like education. Like I had a 4.0 since middle school. I graduated high school 4.2, graduated college honors 4.0. So like in me, and like there's a lot of people that I owe them one, but my parents always like no, because they're like, you're gonna go beat her up. Now you feel better temporary. Yeah. And now you have all this that you lost. Yeah. I'm like, dang.
I always tell people this though, when like that's why people have to be careful with what they choose to engage in, because you don't know who loves the person that you're fighting. You don't know who wants to stick up for the person that you're fighting. So when you pick war with somebody, you pick war forever. It's never gonna stop. Like no matter how many peace talks and in the back of the mind of everybody that loves them is you was on us like that, right? So that's why I just tell people just chill. You know what I'm saying? My parents also told me like, listen, when things escalate and bullets start flying, you get hit, you paralyzed. Which one of your friends is coming to like change your diaper, right? If you didn't have us, right? And once I tell my friends, bro, like, look, I see what y'all on. I'm straight, bro. Like, y'all want to be on the Young and Reckless? I'm going to see you. Right. Like, and that's why a lot of my friends, they respect it, though, because they know when we in the mix and something happens, they're going to be like, listen, holla, you go ahead and go to the car. Right? You go ahead and, I've had people call me like, yo, XYZ is about to happen. You might want to just go home, all right? So,
well, at least I respect that, because there's other people that would look at you sideways like, man, why would you da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So at least I respect it and are like kind enough to give you that warning.
I think a lot of people, they won't respect it if you try to be down. I don't be trying to be down. Like when they be like, yeah, we did XYZ, I'm like, y'all are bugging. But y'all do y'all, you know what I'm saying? That's the life y'all live. I'm good. I was like the person people used to offer me weed, like, yo, just hit the blunt. Like, no, bro. If you put the blunt back out, I'm smacking it. I'm putting it on the floor. So I stand on my morals and principles. And when you do that, people will try to get you to do stuff, but eventually they'll just respect it and let you be you. So, yeah. Have you ever gotten in a fight, though?
Not really. I feel like growing up, people didn't really test me like that. Like I said, growing up, people were very intimidated by me just by the way that I looked. And I started boxing, but I never had to. Again, I'm very calm with my emotions. I feel like I can handle anger very well, because I just never been to the point where I'm like, I'm there. Like, yeah, because there's been points where I'm like, I'm about to pound this girl's head into the longer. No, like when I get there, like I start imagining, but I'm like, no, let me calm down, especially because I'm like a product of a black man and a Mexican woman. So it's already, I'm like, don't test me, because my mom, she's like, I go black, and she's like, I don't know what I did. She's like, until I come. Yeah. She's like, I don't know what I did until I come back. So yeah, that side of my Mexican family, like
I'm like, if you hit me in my face, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
There'll be times like if you hit me in my face, or if you bite me, them two things.
People just.
Well, I can only speak from a specific experience, though. Is because like one time this person, they were like beating up on little kids, and I was like, what are you doing?
Like an older person?
They were like I think I was like 13, 14, and the kids were like 8, 9, and they were like 12, 11 in that range. Okay. So they're like beating up on the kid. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so like I like put him in a headlock. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you like? And then listen, this man bit my hand, and I almost broke all my fingers on his head that day. Like I could barely like bend my hand after. It was bad.
Oh, because he bit you? It was like a nibble or like...
like, I'm like a person, I don't really care what you do until I feel like you're trying to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're like play fighting, cool, whatever. Even if we're like arguing, like, bro, this nigga dumb, blah, blah, blah. You do that. But once you start intentionally, once I feel like your intention is to hurt me,
Mm-hmm.
like, I just go.
So
like,
what if someone like slaps you like really hard?
Yes, we're active. For sure. Like, sometimes I'm hoping that like I would properly assess the situation. Like,
I hope.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because like I don't know who you with. If I see like, if you smack me, I turn around and I see like you with like 4 niggas, I'm not about to fight y'all niggas. I'm like, people got too much. I don't have enough pride to die, right? Like, you were y'all got that shit, bro. Like, who am I fighting for?
Right.
To say that I fought to everybody else? It's 5 of y'all. Like, y'all don't get no brownie points for beating me up, and I'm not getting no brownie points for getting beat up.
Right.
Like, I'm making the right decision. But yeah, if somebody smacked me, that's why I can't do people who do domestic violence. I can't do it, bro. I can't. The first time you touch me, I'm done. I can't. Because if this is the trend, one girl ever put her hands on me, we broke up within a week after that. I cannot do it. So.
Yeah. No, my dad always says that my grandpa used to tell him growing up, like, you never lay your hands on a woman, because if you get angry that one time, what's going to happen every time you get angry? It's going to think it's okay to hit her every single time. Yeah. But, no, like, sometimes I do get angry and I'm just like, okay. I was like, Jesus, I'm a walk away now. But, yeah, I never gotten to the point where I black out. So, hopefully, I think I can handle my temper pretty well.
It's my face. Like, you can hit me on my shoulder, my leg, anything. If you hit me in my face,
you're like, this is my money maker. Like,
bro, listen.
This is my Gerber baby.
Yeah. You got jokes. Yeah. So, have you ever damn, okay. Let's see. Where do we want to go from here?
Oh man, I'm just gonna call you Gerber baby every time I see you. That's the one for me.
I'm gonna get the picture. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna go to my mom's house tonight, actually. So, so you said you had like a lot of like toxic friendships growing up. What were like some of the things that y'all went through?
Man, I had friendship problems since 4th grade. Like 4th grade, like people would like think that I was their friend, and then they would go like have birthday parties and tell them not to invite me. Yeah, like some evil little kid stuff. Like, I never experienced bullying. Like, some people say, oh, like you said, bullying on little kids. Like, throughout my entire childhood, I never witnessed that ever. But the sneaky stuff, the snake stuff. Like, I had a girl, I don't know what was her problem, but I'll still remember this. We're standing outside the bus stop, and she's just like, you know, Isis, you're just fake. I'm like, how am I fake in 4th grade? Like, how old are you in 4th grade? Like, and it's just all of that. And I think that's why it's so hard for me to get into like romantic relationships, because I'm just closed off to people in general. So all that. And then high school, this is the day that I really wanted to like hurt somebody. Like, I wanted to take her head into locker and just like, because I had like this, like I said, I grew up, I didn't really have friends. So I had finally met this friend. I was like, she's a black girl. I was like, we were like this. And growing up, everyone used to come to my house because my parents had built their house and it was like new. So everyone would come over to my house, have fun, have a good time. And I finally met somebody that she would invite me over to her house, which was very rare. Like, I'd hang out with her mom and everything. And one day, like growing up, I was popular, I guess, in high school. Like, I was on the dance team, captain, blah, 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 blah. But I started getting notes in my locker, and this girl, her handwriting, she was left-handed. So, you know, left-handed have a specific slant. So I was like, okay, it'd be notes like, oh my God, you look so cute today, da 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 da. And I'm like, you know, I don't think much of it. Like, okay, whatever. Like, that does nothing for my self-esteem. And then I asked her one day, I was like, this looks like your handwriting. I'm like, is this you? No. I'm like, I said, if it's you, like, just tell me. I'm not tripping about it now. But if I find out later, like, it's going to be a problem. No, I swear on my life, it's not me. So I'm like, I didn't think much of it. I stopped getting it. And then one day, because like the locker was the meetup spot for all my friends. So I was in my locker. And then I was saying, I'm like, my secret admirer doesn't love me anymore. I stopped getting notes. And then at lunch came, one of my other friends had walked up And one of them was standing next to me. She's like, oh, did you get my note? And the other girl was like, oh, you told her. Man, when I tell you, I almost lost it. Like, I went off. I'm like, I told y'all, so that's not funny. Like, what was the point of doing that?
Yeah.
Girl's like, well, we thought it was funny. I had to pray. That was the day that I really wanted to hurt her. And on top of that, we go all to the lunch table and they all want to follow me and sit at the lunch table looking all stupid. Like, and it's just like stuff I experience like that is like, what's the point? Like, for me, I'm like, you were doing that to hurt me. Like,
yeah, I think I don't know, bro. I don't think I had similar experiences to like maybe that, but like I'm a very honest person, right? Mm-hmm. Honesty is what gets me friendships. Mm-hmm. But people don't understand, like, I'm honest with you, but I can also be honest with people that you don't like. So if you see me over there, I don't feel the same way as they feel about you. I think a lot of people don't grasp that. And that's why where you get the microaggressions from. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is she doing over there with that girl I don't like?
Right.
Like
entitlement. Like, oh, because you have a problem with her, now I'm supposed to have a problem with her. Yeah. Because of some little situation. Like, unless this girl disrespects you, unless this girl like really laid her hands on you, like, we can all, just because you're not cool with her doesn't mean I have to not be cool with her too.
Facts.
But I guess it's a loyalty thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a rough childhood, and that's what just left me with like trust issues, like very closed off, and just like emotionally just like shut off. I just always have a wall.
Yeah.
So
let me delete this audio thing. It says do not show this. But yeah, like the closed off thing, I think a lot of people don't understand their own depth to themselves. That's why they don't understand the depth of other people. Because a lot of people are running from themselves, right? That's what I've learned. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the shrooms, right? Is like, there's a lot of people who only deal with the surface of themselves because they know if you look down there, like the real reason a lot of people have issues with other people is because they assume the other people will do the things that they do to people, to them, right? And so you said Jesus earlier. What do you believe in?
My faith is like so important to me. I was baptized Catholic. I go to like a non-denominational church now, but my faith is everything to me. Like when I'm down and low, like I don't try to figure out on myself. I'm just like I lay it all into you. And I feel like once I started doing that more, I became a little bit more calm. I came a little bit more, I love myself a little bit more, and I love other people more, because I don't know about you, but like I was taught, you know, God made us be for selfless, for our purpose is to fulfill other people, not ourselves. And I think that's a very big problem now, that everyone is to themselves. Everyone's very selfish. What can I get for me? What can you do for me? And that's what I'm saying. Even for my career, I don't even think it's a selfish purpose of me wanting to be a singer, because like I said, I feel like I went through the stuff that I went through for a reason, to share my story, to share what I've been through. And I remember we had worked with a Grammy Award-winning artist, Myron Butler, in my gospel choir. And he used to say, like, I was abandoned, or I went through this, and I just think, God, why me? Why me? And he said, I had to start thinking, why not me? So I just think, well, why not me? I'm obviously strong enough to get through the stuff that I went through, because I won't say we all, but a lot of people have gotten to a point where they're like, dang, like, I don't want to be here anymore, or dang, like, am I even worth it, and stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm strong enough to get out of there. And that's why, again, writing music, all of that can really help a person, because when they're low, when you get into that place, it's very easy to go to that place. It's very hard to get out of that place. So and then I talk about this a lot with my friends now that we all graduated college. It's just like, everyone talks about midlife crisis. I'm like, what about these tweaking 20s? Like, you graduate college and they're just like, oh, you're done.
I think I have like the answer to what a midlife crisis actually is. Right?
What is it?
What I think is, we have a point in life where we're not self-aware, right? Then we have a point in life where you start to become aware. That's how you get the rebellious teenagers, because now they're starting to be aware of the effects of what people are doing to them, right? So you start to go through that, and that's why you get a lot of the teenagers who think like the whole world is against them, because they're just starting to realize what the world is doing to them, right? Then you get into the 20s, you get a little bit of freedom, you're still going through this thing, and then around the time, and in your 20s, you have this idea of a goal, right? The American dream, or whatever media you consume throughout life, that is what your image of, okay, this is where I got to get to, right? And usually somewhere in your 30s, you start to reach that thing, right? And a midlife crisis is, now that you've reached this, you realized this didn't really mean anything. Let me go back to doing the things I used to do as a kid, right? That's why you get those guys who buy Ferraris. They probably play with Hot Wheels their whole life. Like, so it's not that they're trying to act young. They're just, everybody wants to remain like a kid, but as more awareness comes more responsibility, right? So I think it's just a gradual thing. And that's why I be trying to tell people, like, once you can get out of that loop, which people use different terms like the matrix or these are all terms that I think are valid explanations, but I think people have a misunderstanding of what they're trying to say. Like, society has a good way, money has a good way of keeping people in this circle, right? And they think they're moving forward, but you're just moving in a circle. Like, once you get out of that and you see people stuck in it, it's like heartbreaking to see, like, you're not even enjoying what you're going through. And once you can break out of that cycle of that, that's when I think people start to do the things they enjoy. That's how you get a lot of people, they start in their 20s, they start roller skating through the city. They like, listen, I make enough to, because money is just a tool for you to survive. That's what it's supposed to be. So as long as you can survive, you can do the things you want. People have this idea that you got to be rich to enjoy life, but that's where consumerism has tricked people into doing that. And that way, the people who want money or need money, because the only thing you need money for is survival. And there's people who have done things in this world that have to pay money to make sure they stay safe, right? So, and again, it goes back to a lot of people are scared that people are going to do onto them as they did to other people. So especially like in America with our history, there's a lot of people who want to stay away from certain people because they know the history of what's happened to these people. And you assume if they start living next to you, they're going to look at you and say, but a lot of them don't even care.
Right.
Like, they're just enjoying the elevation through life. So
people are very overthink, and I'm one to talk because I overthink everything. I'm such a logical person. I'm just like, okay, well, A and then B and then C and then, and a lot of time that adds to stress. I know personally for me, it adds to stress because even coming out here, because I want to pursue my career, before I even got here, I'm just like, well, crap, what am I going to do when I come back? It's like, man, you haven't even got there. Like, everything that you experience out there might completely change if you come back. And it's just overthinking and being judgy on other people. Like, I just hate people who judge other people.
Exactly.
I'm like, you have no idea where that person came from. And just growing up for like I said, my parents built their own our house that we live in right now, and parents did not like their kids hanging out with me because envious of like the stuff that my parents built. I'm just like, well, dang, I said, I just live here. Like, I don't have the money. I don't have the house. Like, this is my parents' house. And it's just the judgment and the jealousy and the envy. It's just, it's sad because the amount of energy that you spend putting hatred and negativity out, you could be spending grinding or pursuing your passion or doing something for your own family. Yeah.
And even like, it's not even grinding and doing something for your own family. It's like you spend time putting out negative energy, when if you just focused on positive things, you will realize that house doesn't make them happy. It's just something that they have with the money that they have acquired. Like, you can be just as happy. That's why most people be the happiest when they go on retreats where it's no connection to the world, because now you have nothing to judge what you're feeling off of. Like, it's you, the people you with, and the interactions y'all have. But now if you pull up Instagram while you're at this cabin in the middle of the woods and you see your friends at a club. Dang, my friends at the club, they decided to go to 1 week, I'm out of town. Like, now you're in this, like when they say comparison is the thief of joy, that's literal. The only thing I be angry about is that people don't understand that. Like, because I have people who we could be chill. Like, we could chill. But they have this idea that, like, gotta keep going. And then
that's me.
You don't even have the experience of what's going on. So
stop and smell the roses.
Exactly.
Kind of ordeal. Yeah.
That's one of the things my parents my mom told me most of the time, because I was like one of the people, if I was somewhere, I'm like, my mom be like, listen, you're here, you might as well make the best out of it. Like, if you have to be here, then enjoy it while you're here.
Right.
Like, I think that's one thing people don't understand. They're always trying to get themselves to a place that they think they're going to enjoy. They get there, then they realize, I got the thing, but I have none of the people that I enjoy it with, because I had to cut time away from everybody else to get here. So,
like that one saying, something about like enjoying the journey or whatever, enjoying the walk. But I definitely feel the comparison thing. I struggled with that a lot, especially like social media being such a big ordeal. You're like, dang, look at all these TikTokers. It just seems like they blew up overnight. Yeah. I'm like, dang, I post a video on TikTok. It's been 5 hours, still 0 views. And it's just like, or Taylor Swift was winning all these Grammys at 16. It's just like, dang, I'm about to be 22. And I'm not in any better position than I was when I was 12. Yeah. And it's just like, we're all on our own path, but I'm like, dang, I'm like, I want to be there. I want it now. And it's patience for me. I have a very bad patience problem. Yeah. But again, with the comparisons, I try not to. I really try. And when I get to that point, I'm like, okay, let me look at where I've came from. Let me look at the things that I've done. Okay, if I'm not where I want to be, how do I fix it to get to where I want to be? Yeah. But still like that, sometimes I can be so hard on myself personally. I'm sure a lot of people are the same, that it's like, stop and smell the roses, stop and smell my accomplishments. But even graduating college, like I said, I graduated with my bachelor's of science, Barrett the Honors College, and a minor and a 4.0 summa cum laude. And I was crying on the night of my graduation because I felt like I haven't accomplished enough. Like, I'm not where I want to be in life. Yeah. And it's just like, my parents would tell me, stop and smell the roses. Like, look at what you've done. I'm like, well, in my eyes, I've been doing this my entire life. Education's always been my main priority. I'm like, so to me, it doesn't feel like a huge accomplishment because I've been busting my butt. Well,
I think I can speak to like what you're trying to say to your parents is that this was y'all's dream. Y'all wanted y'all's kid to, like, that's why I wasn't going to go to graduation. I went because my mom wanted to see one of her kids graduate from college. I only completed college because that's what my mom wanted. Like, I don't care. These things. I wasn't a 4.0 student because I didn't care about 4.0. My mom said pass, and I passed. That's what I'm doing. All right, I'm doing the minimum. And we're getting. So I didn't do homework since 3rd grade.
Dang.
Yeah, because
how did you graduate college?
Because it was only 10% of the grade. I'm very good at math, so I'm like, if I can get 90s on all the tests and all the classwork, I'm getting 85s to 90s. Dang. And I don't do the lowest grade I could get is maybe a 78 in the class. And if I have better, I'll have a B. And there were some classes that the teachers didn't assign as much homework. So those are the classes I got A's in. Dang. Right? I'm not overdoing what is expected of me so I can spend time doing the things that I want. Right? So college wasn't a accomplishment for me. This is an accomplishment for me having, because that's what I like to do. I like to make music. I like to talk to people. I like to create videos, edit things that are appealing to people's eye, bring understanding to people. Those are the things I enjoy. So those are the things I celebrate. People don't celebrate them as much as me, right? So like when I hit 100K, like I see some people, they hit 100K or they hit a milestone and they got everybody because there's people around me. I hit 100K, I was chilling by myself because it's my dream. It's not everybody else's. So I think like your parent, like you did what you had to do and get the 4.0 because that's what I want to do. But you want to be a singer. You want to express yourself in art. And once you get those things, that's why you can have a 4.0, but look at Taylor Swift and be like, I ain't made it yet, right?
Yeah.
So once you start taking steps to like, or start to get the accomplishments, like, dang, I got 20,000 views first day, you'll start to feel those, the progress in life a lot more.
No, I definitely felt that because I had just posted a video on Instagram the other day. It's so funny because I was at the spa. Yeah. My parents gave me as a graduation present to go to the spa, and I was about to lay down on the table for my masseuse, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna post this really quick. Put my phone down, got my massage, opened the phone. I was like, I was like, what? I was like, what? And I kept refreshing and refreshing. I called mine. I was in tears. And it wasn't a lot. It was like 30, 40K, but I was in tears because it's just like, finally, I feel like this is just a taste of what I've been working my entire life for. Like for other people, I'm sure you're like, 30K, whatever. But
well, no. Everything I don't care if you get 17, because I have friends who like, bro, my last video got 40 views. I'm like, that's what's up, bro. Just keep because one thing, when you put it in perspective, Da Vinci drew the Mona Lisa, right? Who drew the Mona Lisa?
I don't know anything about art.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure in his lifetime he would have wanted to create a painting that was worth $900 million because that's what the Mona Lisa is worth right now. But when you think about art, I watched this documentary called The Principles of Pleasure, right? And the lady said, we are here to plant trees that are going to cast shade on people we'll never meet. That's what art is, right? So whether your art is education, music, there's a message, whatever your message is, you're leaving seeds on this earth to grow trees to cast shade on other people, right? So when you think about like the Da Vinci, like he has this perfect painting. It's symmetrically perfect, right? To the point where no matter where you walk in the room, the eyes are facing you. That's what we're here to do. So that's why I be trying to tell my friends, don't get addicted to the number. We're here for impact. But
I think that's a very selfless way to think. Like you're basically saying you're laying seeds for the next generation, not for you to get it, for the next people. And I think that's very hard for people to wrap their head around now.
Because they look at money as a means to an end, right? When your purpose is your means to your end, right? As long as you can survive, money is a tool to keep you surviving, to keep putting a message out. But that's it. That's all it is. So if money is your motivator, you'll never be happy in life. Right. Because there's always more money to be had. Right. So have you heard of NF? So it's a rapper. People don't like to call him a Christian rapper, but I don't call him a Christian rapper. But he said this one line where he says, I keep setting goals, and every time I reach one, I just set another goal that doesn't lead to freedom, right? And you just keep in that circle, right? And I think like me not having to work now, I've been able to really sit and think about what makes people happy. Because when I was at work, I was just money. That's why I ended up with the girls that I ended up with, because they were like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Money. And when I look back in hindsight, I'm like, I mean, I enjoyed the company, but like, was I really happy, like, in the relationship? No. Like,
you said that with your neck.
Like, it wasn't fun because, like, we didn't make sure we were having fun. We made sure we were doing things that we seen. Like, and that's it. Like, I don't care. I could spend $0 and have the best day of my life. I could spend $2,000 and have the best weekend of my life. At the end of the day, what's important to me is that it was fun, not that I did this thing. Right. So when people are like, I gotta go to, what was something? I gotta go to Tulum. Like, Tulum, and that's why I used to tell people in school, people like, I want to switch schools. I'm like, when you go to the next school, it's going to be the same thing. The place isn't going to change. There's these type of people everywhere. You're going to find good people and you're going to find bad people everywhere you go. And if you don't know how to set boundaries, you're always going to be affected by the bad people. Right. So people who want to change settings, I know girls who's like, yeah, I'm moving to another city. All right. If you think it's gonna be different, knock yourself out.
Hey, I don't know. Sometimes it is. I'm gonna dog on Arizona right now. Arizona's not it for the dating scene. It is not it. But
What's your worst date story?
I need a second. I feel like that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I didn't really go out like that. Like, I mean, I'll talk to you. I was the kind of person, this sounds so bad, but I don't really like hanging out with people. I used to tell people, I was like, you can DoorDash me some food and we can FaceTime. Like, I did not like to hang out with people like that. That's why I'm just like, I don't know. It took me a very long time. I didn't get into my first relationship till I was 21. Like, I was just not a big fan of people because people are shallow. People have done me dirty. So it's very hard for me to open up. And I'm not so much of like, don't waste my time, because I'm like, my time's going to happen either way. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, don't waste my emotions, because my emotions are very locked off. My emotions are like my baby. And if I like unlock part of my door for you and you screw me over, like, you're going to go on about your life. I'm the one that has to deal with the repercussions. Yeah. So
I think once you get to the point where you can trust yourself to set certain boundaries, people tell me like, you're so cold. Like, look, once I see your personality is outside my boundary of acceptability, mm-hmm. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Like, because now I know the part that's emotional is figuring it out. Mm-hmm. Like, can I be cool with this person? Mm-hmm. That's the emotional part. But once I figure you're inside, we're cool. Once I figure you're outside, I'm cool. I think once you get to that point, you won't be as affected by the wasted time, because one, you learned more red flags than you had before. So now when you see things, when I go to like parties now, I've met so many people that I'm like, I know you're not no good. Like, for me.
So when did it get, so have you always been like that when you're like red flag, or have you been like, ooh, red flag, ooh, let's no.
There's nothing about no. I have never been like, let me
see what happens. I have that kind of problem. I'm a little bit of toxicity. I used to pick fights with people just because I was bored. Not like physical fights, but I'd be like, I'm mad at you. What'd I do? You should know what you did. Like I know, because sometimes I just get bored. But as you get older, like that toxic stuff is like.
You ever took an IQ test?
Or what?
You ever took an IQ test?
No. Why?
I think you'll score high on IQ, because that's things that people with like high IQs do.
Really?
Like, they get bored of the world, so they'll see like the mouse in the maze. They'll just watch it. They'll set up an experiment and just watch the mouse see if it gets the cheese.
But when you say it like that, it sounds so bad.
Yeah, for sure.
You said, yeah, you are bad. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I don't think it's bad. It's like what you like to do, but you got to understand like just how you affect people in that situation is the same thing that stops you from dealing with people, right? Because it's like you don't want to be the mouse ever, right? So that's why we just implore people to just, treat like the best rule. The first one I ever remember, the golden rule. If you just treat people how you want to be treated, you'll be fine. Like, would I want somebody like faking a fight with me just so I can sit here and think? No. Like, so why would I? Like, now there's things that I won't do. There's things that I won't do through message or over the internet, because I'm like a person, like, even with YouTubers, they'll say things on the internet and I'll call them, but they won't pick up the phone. I'm like, if I think it may be something real, I'm gonna call, because my intent is never bad. If you feel some type of way and want to take it somewhere else, just let me know what we're engaging in.
I think that comes with maturity, though, because like I said, when I was younger, that was like, and like to self-sabotage a lot, like stuff like this is too good, like this can't be this good. So, but again, it comes with listen, it just comes with like the damage that's been done. But like as I got older, I'm like, man, this toxic stuff, I'm like, this is not it. It's draining. It's emotionally draining, physically draining. It just weighs at you, and it's just like, man, I'm too old to be messing with this kind of toxicity. Like,
Now I've learned to engage with it like now, like because I can tell first of all, niggas are so thirsty. Like if they could just calm down for like 2 seconds, they could see. Because in my personal opinion, I think on average, women are. I think from my personal experience, I think the average woman is more intelligent in the art of war than a man, right? Because they can get men to do things like guys can drop. One thing you could do to a girl is lie to her, and I will set her off. You're done, right? But like, there's so many other things. Girls can literally set the cheese to make men just do about anything, right?
Depends on the guy. Because you can give a list of instructions and they're still,
But see, it's the instructions. It's not, and that's why I say the art of war. You never want to tell somebody what you're about to do, right? So when I say this, I see girls. That's why I think a lot of communication is body language. Girls have a lot of body language that guys assume they know how to read, but since they don't hang around women as much as they hang around guys, they don't notice. So when I say I've learned how to engage with it, like I would never date these girls, but I see what you're doing, like, so I'm gonna play along. Right?
Okay, well, you want to come at me.
Yeah. So like girls would be like, something happened the past couple of days, bro. What was it? Like I forgot what she was saying, but I could tell like she was one of them people who could emotionally manipulate dudes very easily to make them like, but I want to talk to you. I'm not. First of all, I see that about you. So I'm a joke back.
It's not like the chase, or it was something completely different than the chase.
Some girls, they want the chase, but I feel like a lot of guys aren't aware of what girls are doing during the chase, so they just end up falling in love. Right? So a lot of time, because they be on the internet assuming what girls want them to say. Girls really be trying to banter back and forth with dudes, but dudes, they don't get it. They think like, oh, she like me. Oh, I'm lit. She talked to me. I'm lit. Most of the girls, like, they just enjoyed the little, and as soon as they get you, they like, you the mouse in the maze for her. Right? So I'll joke back with girls because like, I know you don't like me for real, nigga. So we can joke. We're here. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you want to have fun, I can have fun too.
Yeah, for sure. That's where I'm going to leave it, right? Because I know my boundaries. There's certain things I can't do with people. Then I'm going to be like, maybe she does like me. So I just stay away from those things.
But I thought guys like the chase. I thought if you're too accessible, then it's I don't want you. So how far does a girl play into that as well?
What do you mean?
Like, I thought guys don't like when girls are a little bit too easy, too accessible. Not talking like sexual in a sexual way, but they like when you're like, I don't know, I kind of like you. Oh no, but I have options. Like some dudes like that.
Some dudes like that, but deep down inside, a lot of guys, they're prideful. That's my girl, They're territorial. It's something that listen, girls have fought each other over men, you know what I'm saying? But guys have, the reason why nuclear weapons exist today is because somebody didn't want somebody touching his queen. All right, that's why. Like,
not the land, the queen.
Yeah, he didn't care. He was willing to destroy everything for another guy not to. That's why you get these stories of like people, you know what I'm saying? How often do you hear a story of a girl like killing the dude and killing herself? Never. Like, well, I'm not gonna say never. I'm pretty sure they're out there.
Yeah.
But men will throw everything away for a woman, their own life for a woman. They'll do it. So, like, I think girls want to play the game. They realize like this isn't the person I want to play the game with, but they still get stuff from them that like I still get the cheese from you, but I'm gonna just go play with other mice. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, but that guy, he got that cheese and he's like, this cheese is mine. You know what I'm saying? When she's handing out cheese to everybody else too. And then he finds himself trying to chase her. So I think that's what happens.
I don't know. I feel like some dudes do the same to girls as well. I just think this generation doesn't take relationships seriously in that they're an emotional attachment. Like,
everybody tries to play hard.
yeah, like, this is a person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Why jeopardize that? Why be fighting over it? Like, why cause all these problems when at the end of the day, if you want to build a life with this person, like, sure, grow old together. Like, all of that starts in the foundation of the beginning of your relationship.
But I think, like, and here's the thing. I think at the core of people, they want to have companionship. But on top of that, closer to their outer layers, there's everything that they did to protect themselves from the person who could take advantage of that, right? And that's where they get these actions from. Because there's girls who I have conversations with, and they're like, yeah, I mean, I kind of got a man, but I don't really have a man. And I'm like, bro, listen. Like, you can cut the act. Like, you may be able to run this on everybody else, but nigga, I know you're a cupcake. Just like
You're a cupcake.
Bro, men, cupcakes, girls, cupcakes. In the core, that's what y'all want. Let's stop pretending, okay?
So what is a cupcake? What is the definition of a cupcake?
You want to be all mushy gushy and lovey dovey. That's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to sit up, you know what I'm saying, and lay up with each other. They do other things in life, but like, everybody wants that space where they could just be free to have somebody touch that deepest part of them.
Right.
But people are scared to do it because some people don't trust themselves to put boundaries on people who enter that and do the wrong thing. Some people mentally just don't have the faculties to like do that. And some people are scared of all the things that they've done to protect themselves from people getting there, that other people are protecting themselves too. So I just tell everybody, that's why I don't engage with a lot of people like romantically. It's because it's like, you don't have a grip on who you want to be. Once you search deep enough, you'll realize like, you're not this like warrior of a person. Like, you want to be in love just like everybody else, but you got to get through all of those coping mechanisms you learned as a teenager when you first started becoming aware of the world. So
I think it's all just fear, or at least personally for me, it's like, when do I let these wall down? And now I'm vulnerable, and for that 1 second, you can take it all away. Yeah. And like, sometimes people give too much, that like, you have to be happy with yourself first before someone else can make you happy. Exactly. So a lot of times other people, my happiness comes from my man, So if my man leaves, there goes my happiness. Yeah. But for me, again, it's the emotional attachment. Like, okay, now I trust you. It's very hard for me to trust you. Okay, now I love you. Like, I don't say I love you. People used to tell me, my friends in high school, to be like, oh, bye, I love you. I'd be like, oh, bye. Like, even my friends, I wouldn't even say I love you. Even my mom would yell at me. She'd be like, you don't tell me you love me. I'm just like, it would honestly like gross me out. Yeah. Like,
me too. But I used to tell my mom, like, I'm an action-based person, because words are used to trick people. Like, if somebody loves you, they never have to tell you. But people have been consumed with, what your brain is trying to do is use your eyes and your ears as defense mechanisms to figure out like what they need to be defensive of, because people use words as that thing. That's why I say, if you can learn body language, you can see past the words. There's nothing you could tell me if I could read your body language. That's why I don't have, like, I never argue in text message. Like, if you want to be big and bad, come say it to my face. Like, if you want to, I just think it's wrong, but come say it to me. And most of the time when girls that I've dated, we've had conversations in front of me, this paragraph, this super extensive emotion that you claim to have, it just doesn't happen.
So can you break down body language for somebody? Like, how can you know a girl is like actually genuinely hurt? Like, what does her body do?
But no, and that's the thing that people have to realize, is everybody's different. That's why you have to spend time with people. People be getting in relationships with people they knew for 4 months. You haven't even gone through a calendar cycle with a person. There's people who have seasonal depression. If you meet them in March, right, going into the hot months of the year, they may act a certain way. And as soon as you get in a relationship with them in September, as soon as the weather starts changing in October, they become a different person. It's because you didn't stay with them long enough. You didn't see when things were bad for them, right? How did you respond to, you know what I'm saying, when you were, how did you respond when you may not have been financially stable at the moment and your friends were roasting you for not wanting to come out to the club? How did you respond to that? People don't go through these things. They don't have no patience.
So you don't think that that's something you can figure out while you guys are together? You think that's something that you have to figure out before you decide
You shouldn't figure out why y'all are together, because then what you're doing, that's why I tried to tell somebody the other day is, I was trying to tell my homeboy the other day, I said, look, you're already invested that this should work. So when red flags pop up, you're going to look at it like, I'll deal with it. That's not that big. That's not that big. Where if you weren't so invested that this should work, that red flag would have told you this isn't where I want to be. But since you're already invested, it's called cognitive dissonance, right? Now you're, I mean, we could work through that. You should figure out who the person is and then date them. Not date them, then figure out how to, because what you're going to end up trying to do is people are going to show you their representative, and eventually that representative is going to wear away. Y'all move in together, they change. Once they get to a point in a relationship where they feel like you're never going to leave, that's when you're going to see who they really are. That's why I don't approach people. When I talk to girls, they don't assume I'm trying to talk to them. And well, because I don't. I just be trying to be friends with people. People say, oh, you date your friend. You should, because your friend is the only person who is going to be truly honest with you. A girl who you're talking to is never going to be fully honest with you, because what she says to you will affect how she's treated by the person she's talking to. If you're just her friend, like, even my last relationship, we were really cool when we were friends. But then once we got into the talking, you know what I'm saying? Now you start hiding stuff because you assume that it's going to affect me. The reason I got so close to you is because you were honest with your intentions and everything. Like, oh yeah, I went to the club with this dude and he blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that you feel like you can be honest with me, because when we get in a relationship, I need you to still carry out that same honesty. Now we'll set the boundaries to what we agree to let happen, but the honesty still needs to be as consistent. But if you go about it the other way, what they're doing is hiding everything and slowly revealing things to you. That's just not the way, unless y'all are just going to play that dance for the rest of your life. Right. Then I just don't think that's the way people should go about finding relationships.
But I think people sometimes don't like you to be honest with them, because honesty, sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah. So I feel like I've lost a lot of friendships or lost a lot of people talking to, because I always like to say I'm honest. I'm most authentic self. And sometimes people don't like that. Sometimes people like to be sugar-coated. Sometimes people like to be babied.
Yeah, but then at the end of the day, that's just not the people for you, right? That's why I try to tell people everybody isn't for everybody. There's some people who enjoy lying to each other. Like, that's not the relationship I would want to be in. So I'm going to let them go be in a relationship or a friendship. I don't want friendships where I feel like I'm hiding things, or where I can't, like, I go somewhere and I have to be like, I'm going to pretend like that's not my friend. Somebody asks me like, so yeah, blah, blah, blah. I want friends who we are solid everywhere we go.
But you had to go in talking to someone thinking that maybe one day I can date them, but for now I had to be your friend? Is that how?
No. I literally just talk to people. Like, I communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? I've bantered back and forth with people. You know, just like I joke with my friends, like, bro, my homie Broadband, right? So this nigga wear mixed linen everywhere this nigga go, bro. So when we get ready to go to the club, I'm gonna tell this nigga, look at this nigga walking out here in a silk shirt, bruh. Like, button your shirt up, bruh. Like, that's joking. That's what you do with your friends. I'm gonna treat women just the same way, right? And over the course of that, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have real conversations. Oh yeah, this happened to me when I was little, or I'm dating this guy right now and he did blah, blah, blah. I want people who can have that level of honesty. And eventually, like, y'all will look at it and say, I mean, we're like the same. I think people have convinced people that there's this stigma of like dating your friends or like having sex with your friends. Like if you can be friends, it's because a lot of people don't know themselves. If you can't handle having sex with somebody and not catching feelings, then you can't do that. That doesn't mean everybody else can't do that, right? So I think that's how I go about like that whole trajectory. Like I remember there was conversations I had in high school with people. This is gonna sound sick, all right? So I remember I had a group of friends in high school, and we were chilling in the crib. It was me and 3 girls, and we're sitting there. I was like, you know what? I mean, we're all cool, right? You know, we should all just like have sex with each other. You know what I'm saying? We should practice. You know what I'm saying? So that way we could, you know, like, cause we're friends. Like, y'all don't like it. I was under the assumption they didn't like me, and I didn't like them. So I'm like, nigga, it is what it is. Like, we're lit. Why are we like so? One girl next day, she was, hey, we're gonna get off the bus tomorrow. You know so I went home, dropped my bag off. I walked to her crib, and I had to pass one of the other people's house, and she was like looking out the window and watch me do it. You know what I'm saying? And like one of them, like I ended up dating one of them, and then we broke up. Because I was switching schools.
I thought you were going to say because I was switching to the next girl. I was like, dang, no.
Because I was switching, because I was switching schools, and she didn't trust me because of her ex-boyfriend. He was you know what I'm saying? And that day, like she went to like cheerleading practice that day, because we all used to hang out at just one girl's house after where the conversation happened. When she found out, that was her green light. She told me, like, she straddled me on her stairs and said, we're going to have sex. And I was like, well, not today, you know, because I'm not prepared.
The fact that was your reasoning.
like, I'm not, I don't have the proper weaponry, right, for this, you know what I'm saying? The armor for this war. So I'm going to just wait, you know what I'm saying? And then everything circled back around. We were like buddies for a couple months after that, and then kind of went away, and that's it. But when I ended up getting into the relationship, the girl who I dated out of the 3, when I got back into a relationship, I told her like, yo, I just want you to know that happened, like, because I'm not disrespectful. Like a lot of guys don't understand, if you just be honest with girls, most girls accept, like, not accept stuff,
respect you,
but they'll respect you a lot more and be a lot more gracious with how they go about handling the situation. So I told her like, yeah, because my name and like my word is everything to me. So like if I tell you I'm not cheating, I'm telling you this to let you know, so you won't hear from nobody else. But just know I'm not going to do this to you.
But that's because you're honest from the get-go.
Exactly.
Because now once you lie, it's over with. Because your word doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
Anymore.
So
my main thing about lying is that I just hate feeling like if you lie to me, you think I'm stupid. Yeah. Like you think that I'm stupid, that you can get away with it. That's something like don't question my intelligence. Yeah. Like don't insult me. That's my main thing that gets me through the roof. Hot. Like I hate lying.
But seeing a lot of stuff, like once you can get a grip on that, like people can lie to me and I get mad like that, because once somebody can make your emotions involatile where you can't think straight, then they can control the things that you do. Yeah. So once you find, and that's why I tell people I care less than everybody else. And if I find that button, I'm gonna just keep pushing it. Because I wouldn't do that to a partner. I would do that to somebody I don't care about, because I only do things to people that, you know what I'm saying? If I tell you we're like this, there's certain things I'm never going to do to you, right? But if you are unknown to me and I feel like you're attempting to hurt me, then it's all fair in war, right? So I'm gonna just keep pressing that button because I know how to keep my emotions even keel. That's why if you hit me in my face, that's why I can't be in a relationship that that's domestic, because that is gonna make my emotions volatile, and I may not do the right things in those situations. So I'm just gonna take myself out of that.
Is that the only button that someone can push? Or there, because like
no,
words don't affect you, or are there some words that you're like, man, what did you just?
No, there's no word that like you can, because once I figure out that you're trying to affect me with a word, you're playing the wrong game. Like because now I know, and now I'm gonna find your thing, because now it's war. You're trying to emotionally go to war.
You're such a Gemini. I can't. Such a Gemini. I'm sorry, I can't stand Geminis. Just saying.
Wow.
Y'all are two-faced for a reason.
No, I don't think. I don't consider. We'll go to astrology. I don't think we're two-faced. I think I'm able to go into a lot of different social circles, and people see me in a social circle, and they're like, I thought you was in our social circle. But I try to bring people together from those circles. Like I went to a predominantly black school, then I went to like a rich preppy school. People at this school had assumptions about these people. People from this school had assumptions about these people. I was in the center, and and a lot of times, like, there was people who were doing this. Y'all were doing the same. Y'all were doing coke, all right? They were smoking weed. What are you talking about? Something's wrong with them, right? That's how I looked at it. But a lot of times there was people who robbed and stole from the preppy school. There was people who robbed and stole from my other school. Like, y'all are really the same. It's the money has separated y'all and made y'all believe that y'all are different. Like, there's people who want to do everything by the Bible at this school. There's everybody. It's the same concept. I am just able to bridge the gap between people that are a victim of their perspective.
And again, that goes to your upbringing, because you don't know that. I don't know if you've seen that study, like with the babies, when they pick what doll they want, like a brown doll or a white doll, that they don't know, because all of that is taught. That you're not born like, oh, I don't like that color. Oh, I don't like that color. Like, that's all the way that you're grown up. Like, that's just so crazy to me. Psychology about that is just so crazy.
But what I will say is, I do have friends that are Geminis, right? And I can see what people say, because I have friends who I thought were the same as me. They had the same moral principle as me. But when the thing about being able to see the two perspectives of these two groups is, now I know how to pitch all against each other if I wanted to, right? And I had friends that did that, right? That were Gemini. So I can understand why people would say that, because then they play on your intelligence, right? Is, oh, you don't understand, this is that over there, and they do this way, and when I'm over here, and then you start to double talk with everybody. But the one thing that people don't understand is, as people get older, people get more intelligent, people talk more. That's why a lot of people will keep people away from talking to certain people, right? I'm a person, everybody who I'm friends with, I can invite all my social groups into the same room, because there's nothing, because there's nothing I said to you about them that you're going to be like, well, Holly told me blah, blah, blah about you. I don't have to worry about that, because my word and my principle is above all. But I have other friends who's like, when they see two people get into a room that they're friends with, they just avoid all of them. They avoid everybody. It's because now you know you lied to somebody and said, I'm loyal to you. I don't really mess with them. They're crazy. That's how you end up finding yourself more by yourself.
But again, that's because your intentions are pure and you're honest.
Exactly.
That all goes back to honesty and lying, because the truth always comes to light.
For sure.
Like,
I know people, and I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna put on that. But I had a friend, and I just see where the trajectory of the life is going, and you reap what you sow. Like that. First, I think what church did. I'm sorry, all my churchgoers, all my pastors out there.
Oh my God.
Y'all have convinced people that you have to die to get to heaven, and that you have to die to go to hell. That is not true, in my perspective of what the word is for me. You can get to heaven and hell right here. All right. And those people who go to sleep, they don't feel comfortable in those rooms. They're living in hell. Like, they don't like it. They can't be amongst the people, right? Because that's what made Jesus that guy. Because he was with the people who actually were living life and not stuck in a loop of trying to be the kings and the rulers and stuff. He was amongst the people. Right. So because of who you are, you can't go amongst the people, because then people are going to be like, but you said you ain't like that person. You said you. So now you remove yourself from everybody and you be.
I like that. I didn't think about that. No, that's good. That's kind of just like what the karma thing, what you put out is what you receive. So if you're moving selfishly, if you're moving wrong, I mean, yeah, you might get away with it for maybe a day, a month. Like my mom always say, like, okay, like you might be cool. You might think you got away with it for a month, a week, 6 months, a year, but the truth will come out.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's happened to me. Like I was dating this one dude, and then we broke up, and he let it think it was all my fault.
Yeah.
And one day I was just like this is weighing on me. Reached out, found out he was messing with a whole nother girl. I'm like, oh, well, I feel better.
Yeah.
I'm like, but again, with the honesty, like you let it think it's my fault, which I feel like males do that a lot. I think from a female perspective.
I think bad people do that.
I feel like guys do that. I feel like in my experience and people I talk to, like they just love to flip it. So it's just like, oh, I washed my hands. I let you think it was that.
Nobody wants to be the villain in their own story. So
yeah, I had a situation where somebody did something to me and they didn't want to know that was me. And my friend was like, if you want to play the villain of my reality TV show, you need to make it known that you want to be the villain. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, if you move that way, like take ownership for your actions. Yeah. Because if I tell you something and be like, yes, I said it. Yeah, if I feel this way, yeah, I feel this way. Yeah. Like, no. And again, it's authenticity.
Well, a guy told me when I worked at Dillard's, he told me, he was on, like, when I first started working there, he had a wife. They were going through divorce. Then by time, like, I had, like, got promoted to this next position, he was into, like, another woman. And he said, I don't care what my partner does because they got to live with that. As long as I know what I'm doing, I'm not going through your phone. You have to live with that reality that you're creating on the other side. Because I told my friends this too. Look, if I date a girl, love me enough to do these two things. Either be honest and upfront with everything that you do and buy what you say, or lie to me so well and hide the truth that I never find out. Because once I find out, we're done. So if you can do one of them two things, that's how you can love me. Keep me in the space that is heaven for me. Once you start to pull me out of there, and you can do one where the responsibility is on you to keep yourself accountable. The other one, you can be unaccountable in certain actions, but you're accountable for everything everybody else may say. So you can either be at war with yourself in one situation, or you could be at war with the world. So that's up to you. So, but even when people say karma, I think, and these are terms that I think people like, it means something, but like people have a misunderstanding. Karma, they think if I cheat on this girl, I deserve to get cheated on and her to break up with me. Karma is the same thing as Newton's law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It may not be as visual as you think, right? If he cheat on that girl, now when he go out, he looking, bruh, put your camera down, bro. Why you post it on Instagram? Now his life has become a juggling act, right? Where that puts that person in a certain mental space. So that is his karma. But people want it to be as visual as the one action, when it's just never going to be that way.
Or as painful. Because it's like,
for sure.
Like, and that's the thing, like, again, with my pride, I'm like, how are you gonna do me? How are you gonna do me like that? But again, like, I rather just you tell me, be honest, and I can move on than always leave me wondering. Like, well, how can you say you care about me and then you do this? Or how can you say that you love me and then you do this? Knowing that it'll hurt me, knowing that it'll do this, knowing that it'll do that. That's my main thing for me.
I think once you take the responsibility off other people to protect you and put it on yourself, because that's something that I think that is the key to letting that go. Because once the responsibility is on me, I think DMX said it. He said, "Don't trust a person to be who you think they are. Trust them that you can see them well. If I can see what you're doing, and that's what, don't let the words, don't stop talking to me. All right, do something. Like, girl, like
you just came out with two things. You just said my dad, you know, because my dad being a black man, they just have every saying in the every saying. I don't know what it is about black men. They just have every saying in the book, because he's like, your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
Or he's like, oh man, what was the other one? What did you just say? Dang. What were you talking about before this?
Trust that I can see them well.
Oh, when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, when to believe them. Because that's who they really are. What you say is secondary to how you act. So like, which is crazy, because I had this conversation yesterday with somebody. I was like, people ask me to do things that they want to do for me, right? And usually when I start to do things for them, I don't notice that they won't do it for me until it comes to a situation where they should, like, now they're in a position to do it. And then they turned around and asked me, they were like, I need you to go to the gym with me one day a week. And we have a history of a lopsided, like, situation, right? And I was like, I don't have time to do that. And they were like, and this is where the more that I've been able to read emotional manipulation, right, with words, now I know how to navigate to say the thing, to just hold the mirror up. So you're talking to yourself. Like, I'm going to be who I am. I'm just going to hold a mirror up while you do what you do. So they're like, I feel like you're letting me down softly. I was like, no, because you want me to come over here to go with you to the gym. If I asked you to come over where I live to go to the gym, you wouldn't do it. And you didn't offer to say we can go vice versa. So I don't have time to do things for people they want to do for me anymore, because that's taking away from the happy places I could be in. Right. So once you put the responsibility on yourself to, there's people who I thought I was really cool with. Like, we had good times. I wish we could still be friends, but you don't have the character for it to happen. And you have to be okay with that. Once you be okay with that, everything good.
I think it takes a lot of maturity to be like, and it's taking me this long to be like, it's nothing wrong with me. Yeah. It has everything to do with your character and who you are and the way that you treat me. Because like those friend situation like really jacked me up. I'm like, well, dang, like, why doesn't anybody want to be my friend? Yeah. I thought I treat you right. I thought I'm there for you. I don't think I'm selfish. And it's to the point where I had to realize in my own self and own body, I'm like, no, I'm a good person. Yeah. And my intentions are pure. And at the end of the day, everything that I do is pure. And everything that you've shown me shows me that you're not worthy of being in my life. Yeah. So, and that was a very hard pill to swallow.
I think like social media has done a good thing. I see what they're doing though, because social media is the biggest mirror there is, right? Like, when you look into their screen, you're going to find the things that you value. That's what the algorithm will do. So what I've learned is, when MySpace first came out, what were like the people who followed you called? Your friends. This is my friend list. Now what they call
followers.
Your followers. Yeah. Right? So when people have followers or people who subscribe to their message or things like that, when you look at that and you see what message they're putting out, like material, sex, if that's what you're putting out, like, that is your message. Do you want to engage with, how can I put this? There's certain content creators that I can see that, because that follower count or that sub count goes up, they think like my perspective is correct. And then the more they talk, you'll see how judgmental that person really is. And I think a lot of people talk about cancel culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think cancel culture is like you don't exist anymore.
Right.
Cancel culture is this is where you could be, but because of the way you treat people, this is where you are. Right? Just you could make $1 million a month and be canceled because if you didn't judge people like that, you could be making $10 million a month.
People don't value what you say anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a small group of people who don't mind disrespecting people, but that's why you do all of this online. And a lot of them people never go outside. I talk to a lot. Every time a YouTuber comes here, they're like, but I really just be in the house. Why? There's people outside. People are fun.
Right.
Like, but a lot of that is their own ego or perspective sometimes. Some people just haven't been, I can't say that because unless you were homeschooled, I know you prefer being around people over than being at home. Because, like, as much as by the end of the school year, you wanted to, like, oh, I'm so tired of such and such. That third week into the summer when all the stuff ran out the door, like, dang, let me go find some people to hang out with.
Right.
That's what happened. That first week of school, you're not laying your first summer outfit out on the bed, but you are laying your first day of school outfit on the bed.
Right.
It's a difference.
Right. And I just think that all comes from making new communications and new connections with people. Because like I said, getting into a relationship, that's when you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
The way that your upbringing, like your values, everything, the way that you think, the way that you handle your emotions, everything is by the way that you're raised. So making connections, making friends, making professional relationships, all of that gives you a new perspective. And some things that you think in your life are like, oh no, that's right of me to do. And somebody has to be like, I don't know. Cause you go to your family, if they're all the same way in everybody's mind, like, no, this is right. This is right. Until you get an outside perspective, a neutral perspective, then you're like, I started counseling this year, my last semester at school. And it's just like, I recommend counseling for everybody. Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, counseling, oh, you have problems. Oh, you only need it because you need to get through something. Counseling really helps with your communication skills.
For sure.
It's just like, whoa, I'm like, did you just tell me that the way I handled that situation was wrong? Like, what do you mean? Like, no, I was right in that situation. They were wrong. Tell me that I need to tell them that they were wrong. Yeah. And they're just like, well, maybe you shouldn't use like aggressive terminology like that. Yeah. Like the way that you speak to people, like the words that you choose matter. Because if you are,
get that out your vocabulary in a conversation.
Yeah, but you did this and you did that. Because if you're gonna come at me, well, I'm gonna be like, well, you. Yeah. So I recommend counseling for everybody, just so you can figure out your communication style, because everyone's communication style is different, and how to handle someone with that style of communication.
I think like once people can take their self out their perspective, that's what counseling teaches you to do. Take yourself out of your perspective and look at this as two gray objects interacting with each other. Which one do you think is wrong? Which one do you think is right?
Right. My problem is that I like to be right all the time. I like to be right. Like oftentimes if I'm having an argument, I'm like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. And
what type of arguments though?
Like, I don't know. If you should have went this way, why didn't you just use the GPS? It was better for you to use the GPS. See, we could avoid all this and use the GPS. No, but I knew where I was going. Well, obviously not, because when I were lost, like something like that. Yeah. Like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. Admit you're wrong. We can move on. Like. So it's a lot of issues like that. Kind of just, I'm an alpha kind of person. I'm a Leo. So
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
A Leo means I'm a fire sign, like the king of the zodiac. Like Leos are, they're extra. They're extra. They're a lot. They they're like the king of the zodiac. A lot of them are like the actors, singers. A lot of Leos are attention driven. Yeah. So like I'm a very alpha person, and I'm just like I'm a leader as well. So like I've always led the group in class, and teachers be like, okay, everybody, Isis is taking care of the class now.
So you look at Geminis as fake, but you don't look at Leos as the people who look down upon everybody else?
No. No. Well, personally, I don't. I mean, I feel like majority of Leos, they can, because I've been around. So the funny thing with me, I don't really get along with other Leos because it's, again, a lot of attention. So like, no, I want to be the center of attention. No, I want to be the center of attention. But I can definitely see that I think, again, zodiac signs are just a basis. It's not everything of what you are. So I feel like a lot of times people will make excuses like, well, I'm like this because I am a Leo. Like, no, you're like that because you choose to be like that.
Do you believe in
Astrology? Yeah, I do. I think it's interesting. It's kind of just like angel numbers. I believe in my guardian angel and angel numbers and stuff like that. I think it's interesting. Same thing like personality tests. Like, have you taken personality tests? What color are you?
I don't remember. I took it like in 2017.
Oh, okay.
For a minute.
Yeah, like those, because you just read them and you're like, oh, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Do you know why astrology may be correct?
No, I don't dig that into it. I just like, oh, what's your sign? Oh, and I like to read. And
this is what I've learned about astrology. Is like, I promise this is the last time I say this on this podcast. All right. But like when brains are very predictive, right? If you put it under certain conditions, it will perform the same way, just like a computer. That's basically what your brain is, right? So when the conditions a woman's in when she conceives a child, right, can impact the development of a child, right? So there's certain parts of your brain that may develop better in warm temperature. There's certain parts of your brain that may develop better in cold temperature, right? So based on when you were conceived and your process of growing inside of that woman, right? You can be more apt to act certain ways or more susceptible to certain things, right? So when they talk about certain signs, this person's stubborn, or I'm trying to think of something that I actually know the brain part.
Your temporal lobe.
What does that do?
I just remember her. Man, I took anatomy like three years ago.
Because I know your hippocampus is like it determines. Your hippocampus is how you remember direction and stuff like that.
Isn't that like your cognitive function, or is that something else?
All right, let's just leave the brain alone. But I just know like certain parts of your brain will develop different ways based on the conditions of the weather when she was born. That's why I think like being in a home, it will make people more hold up, what's the word I'm looking for? Uniform, right? So more uniform because the conditions are the same.
I'm mad that you looked up like you were looking for the word.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like
I wanted to say like unilateral, but that's not the word. But uniformed, as opposed to like when people didn't have these structures to live in, right? People were more affected by the weather, which would affect the growth of the child. So I think there's some parts of astrology.
So if you're pregnant, you should just stand outside in each part of the weather. Like, oh, it's cold. Let me go stand outside.
But you're only pregnant for 9 months. There's 12 months, so there's always going to be
different,
a little difference of it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You learned that in anatomy?
No.
No.
I learned that. I hate to say this. Where do you get your information from?
A lot of it was from school because I was a Bachelor of Science, so a lot of my science classes.
A lot of my initial, I think, what do you think college is for?
Well, from when we would complain, like, why am I taking all these math classes or something that has nothing to do with my career, they would tell us it helps with problem solving, this, that, and the third. Like, you're taking physics so you can learn how to solve problems. I'm like, man, you have me paying all this tuition, all this stuff, so I can learn how to solve problems. But I think that's one of the reasons.
I think college is there to teach you how to learn by yourself. That's why teachers tell you should study 3 hours per credit hour outside of school. You're crazy. All right. But like the reason they do that is because we're going to teach you how to read the map of the world. Right. And that way, when you go into the world, you can navigate that map. Right. So I can tell people a lot of my friends that didn't go to college, they have content creators tell them what to believe, right? So this study, they don't know how to read numbers. Numbers can lie better than anything else. I took a class called quantitative analysis, and it teaches you how to understand the importance of each thing that you are looking at. So something like the algorithm on YouTube. right? There's things that are more apt to make your numbers go up and down more than the actual content that you're putting up, the time of day you post, how clear what you're posting is. A lot of like the scientists that developed the technology of facial recognition on cameras they were white. So the cameras were initially trained to notice those things first.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's not that it's racist, because that's what people jump to, because they don't understand how to see what it actually means. What it means is, because of the history of the world, these are the people who are the scientists. Those scientists look like this, and this is why it works this way.
Right.
Even when Twitter used to have the crop, well, you remember you post a picture and Twitter will auto crop it?
Yeah.
If you put a picture of like a black person and a white person, it'll auto crop to the white person 70% more often than it would to the black person.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what the machine is trained to recognize. The more black faces that it sees, though, it'll train itself to recognize those too, right? So when you learn these things, like, you can see what's actually more impactful to like putting out your content. People like, well, I should just be able to post in it. There's a lot more that goes to it. Yeah. So that's why I think college is for. So when I look up information, I'll find YouTube channels that look through books. Like, they go to books, they extrapolate the information.
A reference page and everything.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So they cite studies. This person did this. Other people are pulling random graphs and saying, look, this number of people, and people, that's why I say words trick people a lot. Because if I say, one thing is like violence, black crime, volume in America, right, per capita, has been going down. But people are fooled by what they see. We all have iPhones now. You see it more often.
Right.
Back then, when I was in middle school and we went through SARS, no, unless you watched the news, you didn't know what was going on.
Right.
But now you have fifth graders that know about COVID and can talk about it. So you assume like, oh, the world's ending, but it's not. Right. We literally have gone through like 6-7 pandemics since 2000. Now, it wasn't as viral as COVID, because COVID was the mutation up from everything. But yeah, everything is like smoke and mirrors with media. So
everybody gets their information off of social media. Oh, well, I saw on Instagram that this, that, and the third. You're like, huh? Like, where did you get this information? Oh, well, this one page. Yeah. Like, and where did they get their information? Oh, I didn't look that deep into it. I just heard it, or I heard it here, or I heard it on an ad.
And people only look at the headlines.
Yeah. Nobody likes to read.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like the rhetoric between men and women on the internet?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on that.
No, we're getting started.
Don't get me started on that. I ultimately just hate how important social media is, and how important it's our whole entire generation's formulated around social media. And I feel like it causes a lot of problems that are unnecessary because of the way that you move on social media. Like, and things that you do on social media matter, because social media is a main factor in our society anymore. Now that's how people network, that's how people meet, that's how people date. So it's not just it's just an app. No, it's way more than that, because a lot of times, I mean, that's probably like, that's how you and I met. Like, so no, it's not just a little thing. It's not just a brushed off thing. And I feel like a lot of times you can be disrespectful by the things that you do, the things that you post, the things that you like, the people that you contact through social media. And it can cause a lot of problems. Yeah,
I think like people have, because I went between like social media is not real life. Then I was like, maybe it is real life though, because these are real people. But once, and I think it's a victim of perspective, right? Because my job is on the internet.
Right.
most people don't use the internet. But if you tell people who use the internet that, they'll never believe it, right? Because their perspective is the internet. But if you go outside and if you were to walk in the park and say, how many times did you tweet today? If you do like a matter of fact, I might do my next public interview on that, right? How many times did you tweet today? To somebody who stay on Twitter all day, they'll say 20, 30 tweets maybe today. But majority of people will say zero. I think more than 50% of people will say zero. Like I don't. Maybe Facebook a little bit more before they go to sleep, but most people don't spend most of their time on their phone on social networks. A lot of people use it for YouTube more often.
Spotify, Pandora.
Yeah, music. So I think now I'm back to the perspective of social media isn't real life.
But I like what you said earlier, that you said the algorithm is your values.
For sure.
I think that's really important, because everything you like, everything you follow, it's because you want to see that.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna have, man, like a bunch of fish popping up on your Instagram and you don't like fish. Like, so I think that's why people get in trouble, especially in relationships, because it's like, you know, an algorithm, you know how it works. You don't have to be a genius to know what the stuff that you like, the stuff that you follow, the stuff, the people that you talk to, all of that. And that's why people get in trouble and borderline.
What do you mean in trouble?
Like in relationships. Like that's why I know a lot of my friends personally, and even stuff that I've dealt with, you get in trouble because I'm like, this is completely disrespectful for you to be following an account like this or liking an account like this. Like, why do you want to follow an account like that?
Like what?
Like an inappropriate account, like
Like
a female,
what?
like a female with her booty cheeks out, or like clapping them cheeks, and that's all her content.
Can your significant other go to the club?
Go to the club?
Yeah. Can they go to the beach?
With me? He can go to the club with me.
Can they go to the beach without you?
I mean, yeah. But there's a difference of, like, it's not just, oh, well, that's my friend or that's somebody that I've known for years. Like, no, you're going out of your way to follow an Instagram model who has no business knowing you just to go and specifically see that kind of content. You just said algorithms your values. So what's your values? Booty cheeks?
But that's not all that they followed, though. I'm pretty sure. Now, if they followed 100 accounts and 85 of them were like OnlyFans, girls who did, you know what I'm saying, strippers and stuff like that, okay, then.
But now, if you go out of your way to follow an account like that, why? That's my thing.
Let me give you the example. So you can lie about this if you want to.
Okay.
But
so you can lie about this.
Yeah, you can lie about this if you want to. You're sitting on a beach,
okay.
right? A lot of people walk by you. People who are overweight, people who are fit, people who are all different ethnicities. Now, you may not look at everybody. You may not turn your head to look at everybody. But would you expect that if a girl that looked, even on your scale of judgment of a woman, a 9 or 10, almost flawless, right, walked by, do you think even you are more apt to look at her over everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you cognitively focus on her over everybody else? Or is that just like what stimulated your brain and you just happen to follow that?
You just happen to look. But I think the difference is it's not a crime to look. I mean, it's everywhere. Like you said, you can go to the beach, you can go to the mall, you can go to McDonald's. But I think what gets disrespectful is for you to go out of your way to make sure that that content pops up on your page. Because for you to follow, it's because you want to see that content that they're posting. Now personally, that's a problem for me. Yeah. Because it's not a crime to look. Now, if you're like, let me go see what this girl's doing, it's not a crime to look. Like, do what you want with your social media. But to go out of your way to follow an account like that because you have a desire to see that, that's a problem for me. Because it's not a crime to look. Whatever. You're going to look. We're all going to look. There's attractive people out there. There's beautiful people out there.
Who do you follow?
Who do I follow?
Yeah.
I follow a lot of food accounts. I follow my friends. I follow...
Why do you follow food accounts?
Because I like to cook. Okay. So I like to see like recipes, and especially I'm trying, since my fashion show's a swim thing, I'm trying to get my body right. And I've always wanted to have abs. Just like, you know, when you breathe, you can see the lines. So I follow a lot of accounts like that, fitness accounts, like that. Like, I've never been a big social media person. I never even really like to post a lot.
Okay, so let me put it this way. Okay, so there was a study that they did in I think it was somewhere in South America, where they said the rise in availability to porn dropped the sexual assault cases, right? Because now people were able to get the stimulation that everybody looks for, right? Without going outside to find it, right? So do you think it would be better or worse for your significant other to desensitize themselves to seeing women on the internet? That way when they go out in public, it's less impactful to them? Or would you rather them just suppress that, then when they go into public, it's an overstimulation of the women that are in front of them?
To be honest, I don't understand that, because in my mind, if I'm with you, you're the only person that matters to me.
That's a lie.
No, it's not.
That's a lie.
It's not. I don't go out of my way to follow other attractive people.
No, listen. Well, first, you grew up in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Atlanta's a little different, all right? And you'll learn that being here for the time that you're here, and eventually with modeling, hopefully, you'll go to New York and you'll see the amount of people, and you're like fresh out of college too. So you'll realize that there are a lot more people out here than you realize. There are a lot more. The reason why cities are like this is because the highs are very high here, right? So we're in Arizona, you might have, in y'all school, y'all probably had like 6 or 7 girls per grade that everybody was in love with. You go to college, it's a little bit more. There's like 10 or 13 girls. Like when you go out into a city that's as big as Atlanta, you go into a club and 90% of the girls are like better than every girl that you ever went to school with. So when you have that, you have a perspective of a very small window of people. Right.
But I mean, Phoenix is the 6th biggest city in the country. There's a lot of people.
But the density, what's their density, population density of Phoenix?
I don't know.
That's why I think plays into because it doesn't matter how many people you have if they're still as spread out as other cities, right?
So my question is, does that make it right?
No, but we have to live in reality also, right? Because I know, I spoke about this earlier, when guys get in front of girls, some of them turn stupid. Like, guys like to say it about girls, but dudes are way worse. Because even girls do it. Girls see other girls and they're like, oh, yo. And sometimes, especially like a city like this, there's a lot of girls who know they like, listen, I could go to the club, and if I want one dude to leave with me to the club and have another dude pull up after I kick him out the crib and have him too, like, I can do it. So when you walk through that city like that, if your significant other has no stimulation of women besides you, right? When he goes out, that spike, that heartbeat that's gonna go off when that girl presses up on him. I have friends when strippers approach me, I'll be like, bro, I'm straight. Like, not because like I'll be on the internet consuming women all day, right? But I be around a lot of people, right? To where being attractive, I realize like everybody attractive isn't as smart as their attraction. So that means
not all men get arousal like that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but a lot of men aren't around. I'm a very social. I am like the 1% of social people. Like I don't mean social like I'm in the room with people. I get to know the people that I be around. So a lot of people don't. Like you said, most people are surface level, right? So when this girl is like, yo, let me take you to the bar, buy you a drink real quick. Their first thought is, I mean, it's just a drink. Like, I'm like you said, I'm not gonna be rude. Like I'll take the drink. But now you're getting consumed. She'll rub your back. Things that set off sensories inside of you. Like if you can have a sensory overload coming in contact with some women. But if that guy, if he could lower that sensory overload by following an Instagram page, and like, because let's make this clear, I don't care how in love you have claimed to be with anybody you've dated. All right. You go outside here in Atlanta to a club, you are going to be approached by guys like at a caliber that you probably have never been that have things that also appeal to your eye, like jewelry and stuff like that. And if you have no other sense of, most people don't have a grip on themselves. If you do, that's fine. But you also can't hold everybody to the same standard that you hold yourself, because how you was raised got you here. Everybody else wasn't raised. Some people have to learn those things. And a lot of times when you can go through the steps of learning that with that person, they can get to the point where, listen, you're the only person who sets off sexual attraction to me. And when I look at other people, I'm like disgusted. And you could get to that point, but that's not where they are. You have to meet people where they are.
Well, then they had to be open and honest about that situation, not make excuses.
But you look at it as excuses, they look at it as an explanation, right? So you're looking at it like, why would you do that? You're already looking down on them in entering this conversation. So if you're looking, they're gonna look at like, now they're more apt to hide it, because I do want to be with you, but like, these are vices that I have. There are people just like alcohol, sugar, caffeine. Sometimes the sexual stimulation is a vice for people. People look at Tiger Woods. You're a bit millionaire. How could you do this to you? There are some people that vice is that strong. People give excuses for every other thing in the book: narcotics, liquor, fast food. People give every except for sex. And if they can find a way to use the internet to lessen that. Now, if they're sliding in people's DMs, that's a boundary that I'm not willing to have. But if you want to look at some booty cheeks, bruh, go ahead. Like,
and that's my thing. I can't stop you from looking, but what it feels disrespectful to me is you going out of your way to follow an account like that. That'll always be disrespectful to me. And I just think the difference is what I learned, like even having conversation with my dad, like guys are so less emotional than women are.
That's not true, but go ahead.
Like, regarding stuff like, oh, they can see something and have no emotional attachment to it, or just, like you said, it's just for sexual arousal and not have any emotional attachment to it. Like girls, and like even having conversation with my friends are like, no, why'd you like that picture? Like, oh, you went through all your entire feed, but you like that specific picture of that specific female. Now look at your feed, and now you liked all these pictures of all the pictures on the account of this specific person.
If you even do that, you don't need to be with that person. 100%. I'm not going through my girl's comments. If I want to comment on her picture, I'm commenting, leaving, because nothing else is of my concern. The reason why women do it over men is not because anything that's innately a man's being a man or being a woman. And this is why words be tricking people. Just like you said, everything is how you're brought up. And society treats men and women differently. So I always give the example of a girl falls on the ground. Susie, are you okay? Johnny falls on. Johnny, get up. Just brush your knee. Right. So it's not that girls are more emotional than men. Men have to learn to suppress emotion more than women do. Right. So women feel more free expressing themselves in the world where men have been forced to suppress. So when he's looking at that, what he's doing is trying to hone in his expression of how he feels, right? Because a lot of times, that's why you get these hyper masculine dudes like, oh, the dildos are taking over and the blah blah blah. Really, what that is them saying, if I'm not responsible for all of her happiness, then she's gonna go away, right? Emotionally, I want as little things that could take her from me as possible, because I'm not able to express how I feel that will make her understand that this makes me uncomfortable. So let me just remove the things, which isn't how you should go about it. But that's how they're able to look at this. This is me suppressing my emotions of, damn, I seen a girl that looked fine at Kroger when I went. Let me hop on Instagram in the car, get that stimulation, realize it's not as what you thought it was, then you go drive home and go on about your day. You hit the like. Now, some people need to get over that hitting a like button, but
again, I just think with the communication. Everything comes back to communication.
For
like,
sure.
Again, with being honest. Like, man, like this really doesn't mean anything to me, but blah, 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 blah.
But they haven't lived a life where they could be honest. You say that, but you say that as somebody who grew up with a woman's perspective, though. Like me growing up, I hung around a lot of girls, so that's why I understand where y'all are coming from, right? And I also hung around dudes, so I understand like they don't really like what I understand is they don't really talk about anything other than surface level things. So like when dudes start talking about, yeah, man, I'm trying to get these girls, I'll go hang out with the girls because girls actually talked about feelings and emotions and things like that. That's why I would rather be to have real conversations.
Right.
But I also, that's why people play the Gemini. I see how women have functioned in the world and men, and I try to like, y'all aren't as different as y'all think. At the core, y'all want the same thing, but y'all have different realities y'all have lived on average. So,
but you have to have an open perspective and an open mind on that, because especially like me being somebody, if I'm sharing to you how I feel, I want to hear your opinion. But if you're just making excuses, if you're not being honest with me, because like I can smell BS from a mile away. So instead of just making excuses, well, I can do whatever I want, I'm going to do whatever I want. Like, no, that's not honest. Now, like, if you want these accounts to follow you because you care about your followers, and tell me I care about my followers doesn't mean anything to me. Now, if you say, well, like you said, it doesn't mean anything, but sometimes I'm a horn dog.
yeah.
Like, be honest, but don't let me come to you about my feelings and then you don't recognize my feelings or try to put me down or tell me you're tripping, you're ODing, because my feelings are valid in the way that I feel.
But you got to understand, in a society where everybody has used your feelings as a weapon against you, women is not when women express themselves, it's not looked at as bad. When men express their feelings, it is weaponized against them. So when you come to me expressing these feelings, yeah, I hear you, but like I'm trying to protect my heart. That's why I say everybody wants to be in love, but there's all the coping things that came in between it. So it's not that you're wrong or they're wrong, or you're right or they're right. You're right from your perspective, they're right from theirs. And where communication comes in is bridging that gap. Sometimes it's just knowing. That's why counseling is good, because it teaches you how to have a conversation with somebody to let them know, like, I'm not trying to hurt you. All right. Like, what I'm saying is, like, this is how me going through, and sometimes you got to know yourself. If you trust your partner, like you say you do when you're in a relationship, when, if you can't watch their story without getting emotional about who you might see in the background, stop watching their story. You can only be responsible for yourself. If I can't if I see some girl comment that I know you follow her page and you liked her pictures before, unfollow them. Stop looking at their thing. If you trust them to be them and they're trustworthy enough to be in a relationship, there's some things that maybe you're not you, but people may not be emotionally ready to see. There's some things I don't want to see. Like if I have a girl, she pull out her phone, like, or she's texting, because I know I am very good with stories in my head, right? So my mind can wander to any story. Like, I don't know who the fuck is Tyler. Like, why have I never heard who Tyler is?
Right.
Like, I know that. So her phone start going off. I'm just, because I am responsible for my perspective, right? So I don't want to see that. Do you?
So let me ask you this: when trust is broken in a relationship, who's responsible to rebuild that trust, if it's able to be rebuilt?
Both people.
How so?
Because nobody is responsible for the way somebody reacts to the trauma that you caused, right? So if me and somebody are dating and I do something to them, I cannot put a boundary on how they choose to respond to that, right? But it's also their responsibility to understand that if you want this to work, you have to have a certain level of communication to move the way your actions are into the boundary that I'm also willing to continue to deal with, even with my thing that caused the trauma. It's both party, everything. And that's why relationships, you have to find out who you're with, because everything is both y'all's responsibility. There's nothing that's one person's responsibility.
Right.
Y'all living, y'all emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, everything is both your. There is not one situation that is one person's responsibility. Right. So once people get past that, that's why I used to tell, like, girls who I've dated who've done certain things, like, you gotta let that go. Listen, there are certain actions that I have, certain communication that I need for me to get past this, or some things you have to give up, right? Because if I did something that caused a trauma in you, right, I also have to borderline those actions. How can I say this? I have to so say, like, I went to the strip club and I accidentally got too drunk and, like, kissed a stripper or something like that. And somebody, one of my homies, on Instagram, posted, now all her friends are. I caused that trauma to you. One, I cheated. Two, everybody. Now you have to deal with everybody talking. Right? So some people may say, like, I'm not gonna do it again, but I'm still gonna go to the strip club. Right. Well, see, listen, this is where it's both parties' thing, because now you have conducted yourself in a way where I'm publicly being judged, right? So if you're going to continue to go out in public into spaces where people are going to publicly judge me, are you okay with that? Because you caused them to have this perspective, right? So are you okay with me having to go to my friends and be like, your boyfriend in the club? It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. Are you okay with giving them a space to do that? Right. And it's both of our responsibilities to get us back to a space where the trauma doesn't affect you as much, and I'm acting in a way where the causes of my trauma don't reach you, where I can still be a person that I want to be comfortable living as.
I think that's kind of hard, because you still, even though you're hurt, still have to basically be open. Yeah. Open to, still having to low-key kind of trust you in whatever you want to do. So they have to make it up to you, and you have to be open to receive whatever way they want to communicate and rebuild that trust. Yeah. And I think that's can be kind of difficult. And that's why I don't even know if trust, when it's broken in a relationship, can be rebuilt, depending on the level of trust that was broken.
But see, I think it's trust that I am willing to go through the process of mending our relationship as it goes. Because trust is broken every day. Trust can be broken. You ate my leftover Alfredo.
Yeah, I'd be so mad.
You know what I'm saying? You ate my fries. And why are you eating out of both of the fries in the bag while I'm driving? That's trust. I trusted you. But see, people wouldn't look at that as trust.
Right. Because I'm like, me on the way here.
Yeah, exactly. So people only look at trust as the things that, like, cheating, or
I think breaking boundaries.
Yeah, any boundaries are broken in relationships, but that's why it's the dance of life. Like, everything is a given or a push and pull in a relationship, and sometimes I pull too hard, sometimes I push too hard, and vice versa. So as long as we trust each other that we're gonna make a conscious effort to repair the damages that happen when those push or pull is too much for us, that's what you trust. That's why you have to trust that people will be honest in what their intentions are. And once you can get a person that's like that, then y'all could get through anything in your relationship. I know I got friends who they go to the club separately. They, you know what I'm saying, have people in their DMs saying crazy stuff. They post memes on their social network that they be throwing shade at each other. They could lie to people and say they don't, but they do, right? And but they know, they trust each other to get through it. They best friends. Like, we're gonna end up sitting down laughing over dinner about how this girl said she wanted to go home with me after the club in my DMs while I was at the club, and you went through my phone and seen it. Some people are okay with that. They are okay with the boundaries of this. He'll if his girl don't, like, send him like a good looking picture before she posts it, he'll report it and get it deleted from Instagram.
I'm weak.
But see that see, me personally, I couldn't go through that.
Yeah.
Like, cause I don't like the games. But they know who they are.
Right.
And they know that they're willing to get through it.
Right.
So I just let them be that's them.
That's funny.
You can't look at any other relationship and say, this is how my relationship should be formatted. You have to look at yourself to find out. You can only find the type of partner you need within yourself, and then you could try to see who matches this stencil.
But then again, it goes back to you having those walls before even getting into a relationship. And I think that's why it's scary, because they're like, man, I already had these walls from this experience. Now you caused this experience. Now I'm like, okay, you hurt me. This is why I already had the walls. So now I'm like, wall. And at times you can never get anywhere with that.
Yeah.
So now it's like, man, I trusted you and see you did the exact thing that I was worried about you doing. And now we're back here in this position.
But you know how this whole conversation comes circular, right? Because like, just like that waiter had a life and you expected them to check it at the door, everybody's affected by everything they've ever been through. Right? So you have to, like, expecting somebody to drop all of it is inaccurate, but you also have to be understanding of like what that person has gone through, like, and it takes time. But like I said, when people talk to each other,
that communication,
everybody's hiding in communication. I actually prefer girls who like, oh man, I went out with this one dude and now I'm going out with this dude, but I really like this dude. Those are the people I'm closest with, because first of all, I feel like my character, if I want to date you, I've seen the competition, all right? Right? And there are people, because everything everybody else uses is going to wear away. Eventually, the money isn't going to mean as much. The jewelry ain't going to mean as much. The dinners aren't going to mean as much. The sex isn't going to mean as much. At the end of the day, y'all are going to have to sit in a room and y'all's character is going to show. I feel like my character, I've worked on it. I do have things that are wrong, but I think I am the closest to treating people how I want to be treated more than any 99% of the people I'm around. So with that being the case, like, I provide a comfortable space for people. And if my space is more comfortable than yours, once all your stuff come wearing off, she's going to have to find somewhere to go.
You said come home.
And that's why you get the girls who are like, you know what I'm saying, as long as he knows where home is, that's okay. If she's okay with him, because eventually she know, like, when he's 55 and he's cheated all this time, I don't care what y'all say. I enjoy my space with this person. Eventually all them, the doing that is going to run out. He's going to have to be introspective when it starts to wear out, and he's going to see who he needs to really love. And then I'm going to really get the love that I want. It's a waiting game, but some people choose to wait in relationships. Some people choose to wait outside. Yeah. I choose to wait outside. Because I'm not going through. Do y'all. Be free.
Not be free.
Yeah.
He said, home is here when you're ready. No.
But yeah. That's what I think. How did you feel about? Never mind. Let's not talk about him. It's too early. So what? Do you like watch documentaries and stuff?
Sometimes I like to watch documentaries on about Black history and stuff, but I can't watch too many because it hurts. Like, it takes an emotional toll on me. So when They See Us came out, I wanted to watch it, but I'm like, I can't.
You should go to the Human Rights Museum in Atlanta. Yeah. Y'all should go.
Yeah, I like learning.
It's tough.
Learning about my history, but history's strong and it's a lot. But
what do you think is one of the most traumatic things you watched?
Man, I remember being very, very young. I don't know. I don't even know what movie it was. But my grandpa was in the Nation of Islam, so I grew up and he went with the Black Panthers and all that. So I grew up very pro-Black and all that. But I remember being very young and just watching a movie and a slave was being hanged from a tree. Traumatized me for the rest of my life. I could still see the image on the TV. It just traumatized me for the rest of my life.
You know, they made a lot of those pictures black and white when they were actually in color to make it the illusion that it was longer ago than it actually was.
That's another thing, like, not to get into that, but people, like, they're talking about, like, I don't know how racism's still a thing. Racism's still a thing. I'm like, Jim Crow wasn't even 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people are so baffled.
Segregation was 2 generations ago.
Right. People are so baffled that, racism's still a thing. Like, your grandpa or great-grandpa is still alive to this day, who was a part of all that. Mm-hmm. Like, and people are like, I just don't understand. We had a black president, okay? Like, yeah, we can appreciate the progress, but you can't be baffled that, that these things are still going on. It's sad. Yeah. It's not right, but we made a lot of progress, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So
I think we've made a lot of progress. I think, like, people's ineptitude to acknowledge that it hurts the progress. And also, what people need to understand is everybody don't need to talk. Everybody's specialization isn't talking. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when y'all get up here and say, 400 years ago and blah, blah, blah. Anybody who's intelligent. Okay, sorry. Listen.
Dang.
Anybody who is well equipped for this conversation mm-hmm. would be able to, because people don't care about 400 years ago. People who live now, you have to make them care about things they contextualize to this world they see right here. Mm-hmm. Listen, your grandma, all right? You know what I'm saying? She was yelling at those people at the sit-ins, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This is, like, my homie Broadband told me, he said, the stereotype of black people being lazy came after the end of segregation, or right when the industrial revolution happened. Mm-hmm. Because he said the most skilled laborers in America were slaves. Mm-hmm. That's why there was the beef between the North and the South. Mm-hmm. So after they become free, they say they're lazy, and if you eat watermelon, you're gonna turn out to be lazy. So they demonized watermelon. They mm-hmm. demonized black people mm-hmm. when they were actually the most skilled labor force at the time.
Right.
And people have been convinced to believe, like, black people are lazy. Where do you see the laziness though? Right? So,
and again, with being taught, bringing that up, because you don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't come out of the womb talking about, oh, look at you, you're so lazy. You're so lazy. No, that's taught from a very young age and instilled in you, just like your morals of mannerisms, please and thank you. Just like that's instilled in you. Other people, some people are instilled, treat everyone kind, regardless of their skin color. Well, guess what? Probably a few houses down, someone's instilling that these people are bad people. Yeah. Don't you ever be around these people. Da 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 da. And it's just crazy that sometimes there's people who, even though they're raised like that, choose a different path. Mm-hmm. That's always been, like, really crazy. Like, you have to be very strong-minded and very strong-willed to go against your family. Like, people have been disowned by their families for trying to be different.
I always tell people, my question is, like, especially people who love pets. If you seen a lion walking down the street, would you run? Would you hide from it?
Probably, yeah.
Why?
It's ferocious. We were taught that they're
That's what
ferocious.
you were taught, right? So that is the whole ideology behind everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. People are, I've been to, and it takes, I think what black people don't understand is, black people are a victim of their perspective too. If you grew up in a predominantly black place or a poor place, right? The media you see is, oh, that's this song about killing and something, that's Lil Johnny. He's only one person in our hood though, mm-hmm. right? So you don't think nothing of it. Mm-hmm. But there's some people, you can contextualize that that's Johnny. Mm-hmm. But there's some people who have never seen black people, mm-hmm. right? So if you live in a city who's never seen black people, mm-hmm. and you see this person talking about killing mm-hmm. in this song, mm-hmm. you're going to assume that everybody, they don't know Johnny, mm-hmm. all right? They know black person on the screen mm-hmm. with 10 friends with guns, mm-hmm. all right? So, but they're not wrong for expressing their truth. But you also have to understand how they couldn't understand. Mm-hmm. So, because I drove to Cleveland, mm-hmm. oh man, that's when I was like, there are some places in America that whatever their TV tells them, that's all they believe, mm-hmm. for sure, 100%.
Yeah, there's just, I feel like sometimes people, if you don't go out of your way to educate mm-hmm. yourself on things and find your own perspective on things. Like, growing up, sometimes, like, even by the way that I speak, man, you speak like a white person, huh? Like, you speak so proper. You speak like a white person. I'm like, well, what does a white person speak like? Like, because, oh, you're so educated. So white people are the only people allowed to be educated?
I mean, but that's what people that are from particular places, that's what they see.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason they think that is because one, TV, two, and people who come into their communities who are highly educated to do things like people look at it as gentrification. Some people look at it as community building. It's all perspective, like what you think you're doing. The all roads to evil were paved with good intentions, right? So when they see that person, when they go to their bank, they're seeing a white person. They're not hiring like my auntie at the bank. So when I go cash my first check, or when I go try to find a housing lender or a realtor, I'm seeing all white people, right? And now that black people are becoming more educated, that stereotype is going away. You don't see as many people saying it. So, yeah.
It's a little bit different. I'm like, dang. I'm like, do I? Like, it leaves me a little bit insecure. Like, well, am I supposed to be seeking different? Like, are you taking away my black card because I don't speak a certain way? But
yeah, there's people like, you can't be from Atlanta because you don't speak like you're. There's people in the comments. I made a thing about Atlanta, right? And technically, I don't live in Atlanta, technically, but like Atlanta culture is what raised me as a person. So people are like, you don't talk like you from Atlanta. First of all, I don't talk like I'm from anywhere. Like, I grew up in a very diverse place. I got slang from LA, slang from New York, slang from Florida, slang from Atlanta. I intertwined all of it together because that's what my neighborhood was. I had people from Albany in my neighborhood, people from Charlotte, people from LA, people from New York, and we all hung out.
Right.
And people who were from across the seas. So, like, I think people who are judgmental, I just try to stay away from.
Yeah.
And I'll let, like, my actions, let them see who I am before I talk to them.
Right. Because you're judging me for my upbringing, my reality.
Yeah.
Because my reality isn't yours. Now you have a right to judge my character and judge who I am.
For sure.
Or how down I am with the culture.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me.
So give me your worst heartbreak story, even though you've only been in, like, a couple relationships.
My worst heartbreak story. I'm telling you, it was probably that last dude I mentioned earlier that, like, I was dating. We weren't even officially together. We were just dating for a couple months. He was treating me like the sweetest thing. Like, every time he would see me, he would buy me flowers. Like, and that's one thing that I love, a person that can listen. I think that's how he hooked me in. But, like, little things, conversations, like, oh, I never had an edible arrangement. And then he had surprised me. We were driving. He was like, oh, stop over here. The edible arrangement truck was right outside. And he had bought me, like, a whole thing of strawberries. And again, me being honest, we had a conversation about something regarding his family, and it just kind of caught him off guard, and things from there were kind of rocky. He wasn't mad at me. He didn't blame me for what I said because, again, me being honest. And from there, things were just weird. And one day we took a break on the weekend. We talked again. In the morning, he was like, I want you to be mine, blah, 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 blah. That night, he was like, well, we'll just be better off as friends. And he ended with saying, like, I'm just not on your level. Your dreams are too big for me. Yeah, like, you're going to school. I don't know what I want to do with my life. You're on level 9 and I'm on level 1. And it just broke me because I'm like, I never made you think that, like, I was belittling you. Like, my dreams are my dreams. My aspirations are my aspirations. And, like, growing up, like I said, I've never, like I said, I got my first relationship at 21. My vision was always like career. I said, I don't care about a relationship. I said, a relationship will come later. I said, career. So for you to tell me that, it's just like, well, dang, like, and you don't even want to try? Like, am I not good enough for you?
Okay, see, first, that's that I gotta be right thing. Gotta leave that. All right.
What?
Be here. Because you want to be right in who you picked, right? But the black quotes, here we go. So, he said, one thing you got to understand in life is no matter how much you want to pull somebody up, they might not want to go up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work in the reverse, right? If you're around people who feel like they're beneath, or they feel like they're lower than you or beneath you or something, they will, whatever your dream is, they will pull you further down from that. There's no, I don't want you to, And sometimes those people, you have to look at it as a blessing. Like when
Right.
somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And some people will say it to manipulate you to, and that's part of them pulling you down. Is, I'm not fit for you. All right, well, let me become smaller so you feel comfortable.
Right.
And eventually, so you just gotta trust people.
Right. And it took me a long time to realize that, because I'm like, well, dang, like, is it me? Like, you must not be telling me the truth. Da 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 da. Until, like I said, one day I reached out and the girlfriend answered the phone, and I was like, ah. And then she was like, well, when did you guys meet? Were you guys dating during such and such? Oh my God, I knew about you, but he didn't tell me the whole. I'm like, you knew about me? I was like, all right. I said, not even worth my time. I said, go on about your day. But again, I think it just struck a nerve about all the friendships.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, another person. Like, I just always, and I still kind of feel like people don't treat me like I'm worth fighting for, I'm worth working with in situations like that. Like, I'm too much. I'm like hard to handle. And it's like, I'm willing to work with you through whatever you're going through.
Go ahead.
And sometimes it feels like people aren't willing to work with me through the stuff that I'm going through.
Sometimes you just have to accept that as the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't blame you because I was at that place. But now, once you get to the point where like there is a lot of responsibility because I hold myself to the standard. Right. I want somebody else that holds their self to the standard. There's a lot of people who don't. Right. Like if you can't, that's fine.
And again, be honest. Yeah. Be honest. Because, like, if I'm telling you this is what I want, these are my expectations. And now if you honestly know deep down in your heart that you can't fulfill that, then you didn't let me know. So, again, I don't waste my emotions.
But see, that's not how people work. And that's why, like...
And I just hate it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Because you're like that.
Yes, I'm like that.
Yeah. So, there was one day I realized this, right? I was in I was at this get together in college, and everybody was like, "Yo, we need to go to Spain, bro. Let's go to Spain next year. Let's go do the running." And in my head, I'm like, "Y'all, I had the money to do it, but like, y'all don't, and y'all have no intentions on getting the amount of money it's gonna take to do this."
Like a study abroad, or just like a Spain
No,
trip?
Just like a let's go on. We're 21. So let's go to Spain. Let's ball. I'm like, I don't sit around and talk about things I don't plan on doing. Right. But most people are dreamers. Right. And dreaming, that's why people say once you unlock your mind, it'll set you free. Some people, they just dream. They don't have the abilities or faculties to make their dreams reality, right? Or they don't understand that they can make their dreams reality. So when they say, I want you, I do want that character of you, but like, I don't know what it costs to do that. And sometimes that's why you get people who go in the store. How much is this bag? $2,500. Oh no, I'll put that back. You know, that's where you get that from, right? So some people have a realistic, like, I don't see this as valued as $2,500, but they still gonna come window shop and they gonna hold it as long as that clerk let them hold it, right?
Right.
You just have to understand when you have to step in and say, okay, put the bag. Go on about your time, right? And once you do that, life it will become more lonely, but it become less stressful. And you have two options: you could lower your standards, or you can play the patience game.
Right.
So.
And it's just, I don't know, talking about it with other people, it's just like, I feel like people judge sometimes my standards because other people's standards are very minimal now. Because a lot, like you said earlier, guys are thirsty, girls are thirsty, throwing themselves. And I'm like, no, I'm not that person. I'll never be that person. Yeah. I'm like, I was raised and instilled by my father, like, this is what a man should do. This is what I do for my family. So this is what you should expect and nothing less. So if I'm telling you that from the get-go, and now if you can't handle that, if you don't want to do that, then I'm not the one for you. And that's again, you have to recognize that. Or if I give you the opportunity and see it. But then again, that's playing with the mind and heart on whether, I'm already invested now. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you just have to be responsible for like what you're going through. And the other thing is, like, everybody's impact to the world is different. Some people's impact is 6 kids. That's their impact. Them kids, They may have one that goes on, and because of that, because pressure creates diamonds, right? So that person who's like, I'm just out here having kids and they're going to come from broken homes. Yeah, there's a lot of negative that comes from that. But also that one diamond that comes from that may be able to lessen the impact of that next set of people, right? Your impact to life may be art. So I don't blame people who just want to like have sex every weekend or every day or 2 times a day with 2 different people. I don't judge them, because that's them. That's your impact to the community. You enjoy doing that. There are people who need to be sexually pleased every day, right? You taking that's, and it's funny because when I went to Waffle House and talked to that lady about everything she believed, I was like, what I think the Bible is teaching you is love thy neighbor, because there's people in the community that do different things than you think are acceptable, right? And it teaches you how to coexist, right? So if you're a merchant, be a merchant. If you're a if you're an artist, be an artist. Sell your art. If you're a sex worker, be a sex worker. And she paused right there. She was like, I don't think that's from your perspective. Right. And what that is telling you to do is how to live with these people. There are people who need. Would you rather? Okay, let's just leave that topic alone. Would you, if somebody could go to somebody and use their hard-earned money to get the sexual pleasure they need and not have it pent up to where they will go out and commit violence to get it? Because if people don't get the things that they feel they need, they will commit violence to get it. That's just the truth. Right. And which one is the better outcome? Right. That, because she don't look at sex like you do. She's okay. Right. She's okay with like, all right, I can get my rent paid in 3 days having sex. Right. Bet. You know what I'm saying? I could go travel the world having sex 4 times a week. Some people are okay with that. You don't have to live with that person. Right. You don't. But she is viable to the community. So I don't, and again,
choosing who you want in your circle.
Yeah. So when I say people are thirsty, they're playing a different game than I am. Their impact is different. So I'll let them do them. There's a lot of learning in there.
And that's why one thing about the Bible, people want to pick and choose about the Bible. Like, oh, you want to judge her, but what happened? Only God can judge. Yeah. Like, mind your own. I feel like the world would be a better place if everyone just minded their own business. Like, what is she doing? Have to do with you. You're wasting energy paying attention to whatever she's doing or gossiping or judging her. Mind your own business. Yeah. Like, I think you would be under less stress and the world would be a better place.
A lot less stressful. Yeah. What do you think, like, your biggest triggers are?
You just, like, hopped right into a completely different question. Lying is a huge trigger for me. Raising your voice sometimes can trigger me. It depends. Don't touch me. That's a huge trigger for me. Don't touch me, especially if I don't know you. Like, don't touch me. Yeah. I think because growing up, my parents said when I was a baby, everybody loved to touch me. They're like, oh, you're so cute, and try to touch me. Don't touch me. I used to sing the national anthem at a bunch of events, and people would come and be like, oh my God. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Like, I don't like to be touched. Unless, like, I really know you, and then, because I like physical affection, but, like, I had to know you. I had to want your physical affection. Don't just touch me to touch me. Okay. or hitting me. Like, don't slap. You're just the face. Don't slap me anywhere. Like, I go 0 to 100. I remember I was in I hope she doesn't watch this. I was in a hip hop practice, and my friend slapped me really hard. I think, I don't know, on the butt or the leg, something. I turned around and I punched her right in her chest. No, I was like, don't touch me. I said, I already told you, don't touch me. I'm like, it makes me hot. Like, I go to 100. Like, don't touch me. Don't hit me. I don't like that. Yeah. So yeah, those are my triggers.
I'm the same way. I don't like to be touched, bro. Like, I don't like when people be like in the club and they be like, yeah, I'll be like, but I have patience, all right? Yeah. Because, like, this can only last so long, bro. It can only last so long. Like, I just get through
You
it.
do. You just seem very calm and melancholy. You're just like.
Yeah, I'm very in this. My bubble is very small, and I have perfected my bubble to not go out because, But
I feel like if it's like that, if we're like having a good time, or doing what is that, like the swag surf or whatever,
yeah,
I can do that. But if I don't know you, like you're a stranger and you like to touch my hair, oh my God, I hate when people touch my hair. If I don't know you, don't touch my hair. Like if you're my friend, whatever, still ask. But people just, oh my God, your hair's, yeah, it's pretty because I take care of it. Don't touch me. I'm not an artifact. I think that's what really triggers me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a puppy. I'm not just something that you just come and rub and like. That's a big trigger for me. I think that's number one.
Yeah, touching is definitely my number one for sure. Like, I only touch you to greet you, to see you off, and for intimate activities. That's it. I don't want to be touched outside of that. Yeah. Don't like come put your hand on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time I was in like Little League baseball, and I knew my coach was about to do it because coaches always used to do that, like smack you on your butt.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that. Do not touch me.
I remember like I like support, like good job.
I don't like that. Don't do it. And I used to like. People knew I wasn't like. I really don't like that. Like to the point where like I was on a basketball team in college and like not in college in high school, and like people would joke like they was oh, you keep playing, bro. I'm telling you, like stop playing with me. So I hate it. Mainly, I see people who are like brothers do it because like my ex, her two brothers, they slept in the same bed at a point in their life. So like, which is cool. I slept in the bed with my cousins and stuff during family vacations, but like, don't touch me.
See, I'm not that bad. And that's funny you said that. Because like, if you're close to me, go ahead, play with my hair. I love to have my hair I like to have my head scratched. So I'll go around and be like, scratch my head. Like, I like physical affection, but now if I don't know you, or if you're trying to like hit me, because I don't like being in pain. So if you smack me and it stings, I'm through the roof. But like, yeah, like me and my family, we all like to give each other like love taps. We like punch each other in the kidney and stuff. Like, but that's just the way we show affection. And like growing up, because I'm way younger than my two sisters, we're 12 and 8 years older than me. Growing up, I used to get a pillow and sit on my sister's head to like suffocate, and she'd be screaming like "Mom, Mom," and I'd be like, "Shh, like you're fine." But yeah, see, I like to play and be playful around touching and stuff like that. But
I have to be. The more aware of how bad other people's energy is on me, the less like when I was in school, I did it, but like now, especially if I don't spend enough time with anybody for them to be touching me. Like people be like up in my, I don't like that. Like if I can feel your body heat on the side of my face, you're too close to me.
Yeah, why are they standing so close?
Yeah.
What if someone's yelling at you in your face? Like they get in your face and yell at you. Does that make you hot? Is that triggering to you?
Nobody should be yelling in my face. Nobody yells in my face. I don't even know the last time I had even conversation where I needed to be close to somebody. Because like a lot of my conversations are like heated debates. So you're already on the other side of the room. I pace a lot.
Really?
Right, from far away. But I would never, I just don't. Because like my type of interactions like that don't be aggressive. They be informational. We're debating something.
But if someone came at you aggressive like that, is that a trigger for you?
I'm just look at them like, and then walk away. Because I'm not engaging in this conversation. Because if you come at me aggressively, I know in my head what I'm thinking is, I know how disrespectful I am. Like if I feel like you're being intrusive, and I don't want to go there, right? For neither one of us. So let me just remove myself from the situation.
You have a lot of control over yourself.
My brain thinks very fast. So like when things happen, people are like, how you make it this? Because I sit with myself a lot. So I've already played through a lot of situations before I ever come into them. So when they happen, I could be at a party, you know what I'm saying? Somebody step on my shoe. I've played through this situation in my head, how bad it could go and what's the best alternative. So when it happens, it's, or like me and my homie went to a restaurant down the street where it ended up getting shut down because the dude was so racist. But we go in there and the dude was like yelling at him. I'm like, And he doesn't understand, like, he didn't get the dude was like being mean, because he was being genuine. He was like, I just asked for, you know what I'm saying, such and such. And the dude was like yelling. He's like, hey, yo, bro, like I just told him, like, let's go just eat somewhere else, bro. Because I know how this could play. To a couple things could happen. This could escalate. They could do something to your food. They could, these are none of the possibilities we want to go through. So, plus I was hot. So I was like,
oh, yeah. You have more patience than me, because I'd be like, oh, really?
I'd be like that. But like once I do the head turn, I just know to walk away, because I've already played through this situation.
So do you meditate, or is that like self-reflection, or is it just you be thinking?
I just be thinking. I started to meditate now. So like I do like this workout thing. Then I'll listen to this YouTube channel called Freedom by Thought, right? And I'll just listen to one of those through while I'll just lay flat. Meditate.
See, when I try to meditate, I'm like, okay, and then this is my thoughts just zooming out, and I'm like, oh snap, I gotta come back. But
that's what you want to do, because the whole purpose of meditating is understanding that you could like free your mind to lead you down those paths, because that path may lead you to a thought of euphoric feeling or like some epiphany at the end of that thought. A lot of people just try to rein their thoughts back in to think about what's in front of them. Sometimes you want to be able to go down those. That's why people always use the 1,000-yard stare. I used to just sit in class and like, and I was able to dream.
I bet your teachers are like, he's not listening.
But I was really good at like retaining information. But like even I could retain information because I remember the dreams I would have while people were talking. So like
that's wild.
So a teacher would be like, the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, but I would be like thinking about like walking through a forest, or you know what I'm saying, something like I would be playing through a whole thing in my head. So when I get ready to take the test, I don't remember what the answer is. I remember what I was dreaming about when that information was given to me.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you're thinking about the dream, you hear the audio, basically, whatever she was saying. That's crazy.
So I have like like even if I like watch the teacher, I never took notes. Like I owned 4 notebooks all through college, and none of them are past page 3 of the notebook. And I only did that as like the first day of class, pretending to take notes. Like, so, and I can remember like if a teacher was teaching about the War of 1812 when that happened, and then she yells at, you know what I'm saying, Andrew over there. I'm gonna just remember her yelling at Andrew, and I'll be able to recall all that information.
Is that called something? That's crazy.
What?
Is that like It's not photographic memory. Is that like called something?
I don't know. But
that's crazy.
I just know that's how your brain is wired. Like all of that stuff is like the neuron endings.
So anybody can do that? That's not just like a special thing you have?
Anybody could do it.
I wish I would have known that through college.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think naturally I think you have to train yourself to be able to do it. But you should watch Fantastic Fungi, which is about shrooms. You know what I'm saying? W Mans. All right. But yeah, tell everybody where they can find you before we head up out of here.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Isis Bennifield, TikTok Isis Bennifield, and I don't really post on YouTube anymore, but I'm gonna get started on that. It's still Isis Bennifield. Everything is my name.
You should post your TikToks on YouTube as shorts.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that because my TikToks be sad with no views. So go follow me on TikTok.
All right, listen, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I will link all her stuff down below. And until the next time I see y'all.